Welcome, everybody, into Cumberland Valley for the Rising Stars Football Academy. I'm Derek Moore alongside Santos Martinez. Santos, we have a football combine on our hands today.
It's a great weather, a great opportunity today to show these kids what they can do for the next couple of years in high school and get their names out there with the scouts and colleges coming up here.
How beneficial do you think these combines are for not only the coaches but the players?
I think it's very beneficial to their career, high school and hopefully collegiate level. They have the opportunity to really show themselves here and to see what they can do in the season coming up.
Tell me more about the coaching aspect of it. Coaches get to bounce knowledge off of each other. How beneficial can these be for coaches as well?
It can be very beneficial for coaches, to understand what they're going to work with for the next couple of days, next couple of years, I should say, especially with the freshmen and the 8th grade class coming in. It's going to be crucial for the players and the coaches as well.
What about the scouting aspect of it? Obviously we have multiple combines. We'll show you later in the graphics about those upcoming combines, Rising Stars football combines coming up. But what about the collegiate scouts that are going to be at multiple combines, looking for talent at all kinds of levels?
I think it benefits them crucially. They're looking for the people that can really make a difference in their programs, and that's what they're going to see today, people that can really make a difference.
What are you looking forward to most and watch about today on some of these drills?
One-on-ones, individuals. Definitely looking forward to seeing the bigger guys come out and to show their strengths and weaknesses on the line. I can't wait to see the pass plays going on and everything else that's coming on today.
Obviously, we just had the NFL draft and NFL combine, so this is obviously a pro-style combine. Due to weather implications, we have some drills inside and some outside. Positional drills will be outside, but we're going to rotate guys in and out, coaches in and out for interviews today. As you're going to pull up some of our coaching interview today, we'll have some Jordan Hill from Trinity High School, Joe Hedden from Susquehanna High School, Lance Dean from East High School, Josh Oswald, Cumberland Valley head coach, and Josh McNair of Trinity High School as well. So it's going to be a very good day here for a football combine. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back after this. Back, everybody, to Cumberland Valley High School for the Rising Stars Football Combine. I'm Derek Moore alongside Santos Martinez. We're going to have a lot more action coming up for you. Some drills and warm-ups are taken inside today due to weather inclinations. As you take a look at your screen here, we're going to throw up some graphics for you, some upcoming combines, obviously. So we'll have Big 33 weekend coming up on the last Sunday of May 28th. The registrations for that is coming up, $25, and that's up in Bishop McDevitt High School, Crusader Way in Harrisburg. Then we'll have the Big 33 available from ages 5 to 13, located in Harrisburg, PA, and the registration $25 fee. Then the 15th Annual Rising Star Football Academy Combine in Millersville, June 25th to 29th to 2023, hosted by Ron Johnson's. First practice is offense, second group is defense. Individual periods, group periods, inside run, passing offense, passing defense, 7-on-7s, 1-on-1s, show period, gap responsibility, fits, run, fits, coverage, team periods, conditioning, all that great stuff. Participants engage in workshops focused on academic excellence, NCAA, scholarship eligibility requirements, leadership, life skills, character resiliency, and other topics in the evening at our camp. And RSFA is the only camp that includes student-athlete development workshops, which is very beneficial for you to have more just very beneficial weekend, just not only outside of football, to focus on developing character, leadership skills, and academic skills as well. Very important. Football is only the one aspect that you have to do to be eligible for a scholarship. You have to be really good in the classroom as well. Up in Millersville University, which is a very nice campus with a lot of good athletic facilities. Then the York County Youth Football Combine, June 30th to July 1st, 9 to 3 p.m., ages 10 to 13, hosted at Red Lion High School in Hornfield. Registration is already open. You can go to risesourcefootball.com, academy.com, or call 717-434-4558. That's all the upcoming combines we have for you today. We'll have more drills and individual athletes. But Santos, you obviously have done last year's combine up in Bishop McNair. Give us a little bit of background of last year, how that was for Big 33 weekend.
It was great for them. I remember we were talking to a couple people, especially Ron Johnson, and he mentioned that it was a great environment to be in. It was nice weather. It was a great atmosphere. The kids were nice, and it was great to be along you, Derek, and the broadcast booth, and our producer here, Sean. It was great to be in that environment with the weather and everything.
Yeah, Big 33 obviously is more than just a football game. It's a whole entire event-packed weekend, and we'll interview the director of Big 33 weekend, Gary Cathell, coming up in just a little bit later on in this broadcast. But obviously, we have Josh Oswald down there. We'll be interviewing him, the head coach of the Cumberland Valley football, in just a short time. But obviously, Santos, tell me a little bit more about your favorite type of drills, what you're looking forward to watching today.
My favorite type of drills, I mean, who doesn't like 7-on-7s and 1-on-1s? I think the one I'm looking for the most is going to be 7-on-7s and passing defense and passing offense. These kids have really waited for this time today to be in this position, and they have their spotlight. So they're here to see what they can do.
What was one thing you talked to Gary Cathell, director of the Big 33 last year. What was one thing you took away from Big 33 weekend that he said to you?
It was a weekend packed event. It was great for the kids. They have a special needs program over there, which is great to hear. And it was just a great atmosphere. You're going to hear that a lot from me today. I'm going to say great atmosphere a lot, but that's what it was. He loved it. He loves doing it. He's been doing it for a while now, and he doesn't plan on stopping either. So hopefully we can see more of him, and hopefully we get to hear more from him today when we interview him.
Yeah, obviously Big 33, like I mentioned just a few moments ago, was more than just a weekend. We'll have Gary with us up here in a little bit. But, I just want to talk a little bit about Rising Stars Football Academy and how it's grown. Obviously, we still have even more. Ron Johnson does a terrific job putting on these combines with the host school and all that and these coaches. And it grows every year. More and more sponsors come to fruition. Now this year they added Earth Fed and Muscle, which is obviously a very good protein for that. And UPMC, Life Changing Medicine, and obviously Maxwell Football Club, and partnering with Big 33. And it's just been an event. Something changes every year with Rising Stars Football Academy. It continues to grow. It benefits not only high school kids in a pro-style combine, but younger kids from the 10 to 13 age bracket as well, and all the other combines. So yes. Talk about how beneficial it is for not only high school kids, but also the younger guys from ages 10 to 13 to have these types of pro-style combines.
It means a lot to the kids. I can only imagine. It's great for them to be in this atmosphere, for them to experience what it's like to be a high school athlete. And the coaches feel like most of them have potential. So, them being in the shoes of high schoolers is great for them to dip their feet in the water and getting a taste of what high school football is like.
What do you would say is what stands out to you about how Ron Johnson runs these pro-style combines, Santos? Obviously, he's been doing it for a few years now.
I think what stands out the most to me is his resilience to really get these kids' mindset right for high school and hopefully the collegiate level. He's done a lot for the community here and a lot for this program that he has. So hopefully we can see more of that. I guess we're more excited to see what he can do this year again. I mean, he never fails to amaze us with these combines he throws, and it's great to be here, especially at this beautiful stadium we got here at yeah, that's what I think is his big takeaway from the week.
Yeah, Ron does a terrific job not only focusing on the football aspect of this, Santos, but also the academic focus on this as well. You know, probably when we wrap up here today, he's probably going to grab everybody at midfield and talk about the importance of academics. And obviously, as a college student right now, in the middle of finals week right now, he goes whenever he closes out the combines. Now is not the time to coast. It is go time. These athletes still have to maintain focus and finish strong in the classroom. And then once they let out, about 2 months, they're going to be in training camp in August, September, getting ready for their opening weekend and opening Friday night for the high school football level. And hopefully right now in relatively close, we'll have Coach Josh Oswald come up and join us and give us a few thoughts of his and his upcoming season, his thoughts of today, and much more. But also I want to throw in there right now, Santos, is that our very own Dave Micah has been on the Maxwell Football Club committee for over 10 years as well. So he's been around Eastern PA football for a very long time as well, not only doing D11 stuff, but as we see some tackling dummies are getting set up. And right now we're about 20 to 25 minutes, we'll start seeing some action and some drills outside. Obviously, like I mentioned before, whether or not Mother Nature not cooperating with us today, so we're going to have a split combine, warm-ups inside, some drills inside, the Chapman Fieldhouse, and then obviously out on the turf here at Cumberland Valley. Obviously, much more, not the weather we had last time we were at that Bishop McDevitt for
Yes.
Big 33 weekend, nice
Sure.
80 degrees and sunny, but it's going to be a very action-packed day. Looking forward to having multiple guest speakers up here with us, Santos, and just some of these positions I'm looking at them. You know, a lot of running backs, corners, safeties, defensive lineman, and cornerback, and we have like I mentioned earlier, like we were talking about Executive Academy in our backyard, Executive Charters, Chris Cruz, a quarterback and safety. So some District 11, local District 11 people, District 11 person in it, but you know, a lot of these guys coming from in their own backyard at Cumberland Valley and Coach Josh Oswald's squad. So it's going to be very good to see he gets to work with his guys hands-on as well, and all these other coaches from other schools working with some of their players, and not only with Josh's players, but schools around from all the way around this area.
Yep. You know, it's going to be great to see some of these kids play, and who knows, maybe one day, you know, the kid from our beautiful town of Bethlehem, executive education, Chris Cruz, maybe we'll see him in the Big 33 game coming up a couple years from now. Big spot at the QB. You know, I just can't wait to see what these kids do. You have people from Hershey, like you said, and Pittsburgh, so it's going to be a great night tonight.
Absolutely, and obviously you just mentioned the Big 33. There's been a player that has played in the Big 33 that has been represented in every single Super Bowl.
Yes.
It's gonna hopefully that streak never ends. Obviously,
that says a lot about the Big 33 and the weekend that it does. And last year we had the honor of seeing Saquon Barkley here. The year before that, Jahan Dotson. You know, it's the big names that really make a difference here in the Lehigh Valley, and it's great to be a part of this today in Cumberland Valley.
Absolutely. And obviously we got your thoughts about, you know, the Cumberland Valley and the combine and upcoming, but how beneficial is it for, you know, Ron Johnson to continue to get their Rising Stars Football Academy name out there? What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's crucial for not only him but for these kids. Kids that he teaches, you know, I've only heard good things about his teachings and his coaching, and he's a great guy, really, really hardworking. He knows what he's doing, and I feel like that's why the kids respect him so much going into today, and hopefully, you know, some of them might transfer schools and they might play with him. You know, I don't know if he is a coach, but you know, he might be looking at them to go to the collegiate level and playing a collegiate sport, football especially, at the college level.
Absolutely. And then in about maybe 5-10 minutes, we'll have Coach Josh Oswald come up to the broadcast and join us for us to interview and get his thoughts about today, his season. And obviously you hit the nail on the head. It's Ron Johnson, defensive line coach actually at Red Lion High School. Not only does Rising Stars Football Academy, but is a football coach for over 10 years. You know, played in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles, went undrafted, but was an undrafted free agent. made a little bit of a name for herself in there. Was about in 2005, and then suffered an injury. Finished his degree, He'll tell you a little bit more about his story when he comes up and to get interviewed by us as well. So it's going to be very good to hear from Ron again for him to share his story. I always find it very good when he shares his story in his journey.
Yes,
So
for sure.
Tell us a little bit more about your thoughts of your interacting with Ron.
He's a great guy. I mean, he's very respectful to the people. You know, we interview him. He's very respectful, and he's he's just a nice guy. All around kind of guy. So it's nice interviewing him. It's nice for him to be up here with us, and it's good to see that we have someone who played for the Eagles here, really making a difference in this community, especially for the high school students.
No, not just only the Cumberland Valley community, but all across Pennsylvania football. Ron has done just a terrific job just hosting these combines the past few years, and then obviously doing these combines from 2021, 2022, and now 2023. They always change. They always get better. He always continues to add. He always adds sponsors. And talking with Ron, it's always a pleasure talking with Ron and catching up with Ron because he takes this very seriously, and he puts on such a good opportunity for these things. We're going to step away just momentarily take a short little break. Welcome everybody back to Cumberland Valley High School. I'm Derek Moore alongside Santos Martinez. Santos, tell us a little bit more about your thoughts of today and what you're looking forward to and what the audience can expect at home today.
I'm looking forward to the drills that we're going to see today, and I think everyone at home is waiting for that. It's not the best weather, but it'll do for now. As the weather's all right. And it's great to be here in Cumberland Valley, the host of the state finals, might I add, for all the football events here, football state finals, and it holds a lot of history. This is the first year they held it. Was last year they took over from Hershey, so that must be an experience for them. But it's experience for these kids too, to see what it's like to play at the high school level.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Santos, and obviously the first time they hosted the state football PIAA state football championship was last year, and they'll continue to host it for the next few years as well, getting that bid. And obviously we'll have the Cumberland Valley head coach Josh Oswald joining us right now. We'll get his thoughts about the combine tonight and his upcoming season, such as returning players, what his message to his team is going to be as they are winding down their school year. Schools right around high schools and other schools all schools are frankly going to release in just about a few weeks for summer break, and we'll get his thoughts, what he's going to tell his team, what he's looking forward to for his upcoming season as well, and hopefully maybe get his team playing in his own backyard, having a home state championship, that's for sure. But we'll get his thoughts coming up soon in a little bit, and some of his guys as well.
Yeah.
Some of his guys are already here as well. They're well represented here in the Rising Stars Football Academy combine today. And obviously I'm looking at some of these names and some of these there's a lot of good talent here, Santos, that's for sure.
There is. We're looking at a lot of people from Pittsburgh, from our backyard, like we said before, at executive education. We're looking at people from Mechanicsburg, which is not that far from here, and Camp Hill, Cedar Crest, which is I believe near us. It's just going to be a great opportunity for these kids. Like I'm going to say, it's great to see what this is like. And like you were bringing you back to what you were saying about hosting a state championship game here at their own home would be a great atmosphere. Home field advantage during a state final would be amazing. And it's great to see how much these kids can do this year.
We'll obviously have many guest speakers coming up with a lot of the coaches, as well as, the players are getting underway here, hopefully to come out. Looks like they're doing some vertical jumps or getting some names. We'll have Josh Oswald, Lance Dean, Jordan Hill, played with the Seahawks actually, went to Penn State, third round pick, won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks, and we'll get his thoughts coming up. Joe Hayden, Ron Johnson, and Mike Murati from Trinity High School, and we'll get all their thoughts hopefully. And Gary Cathell of the Big 33 will also be joining us, and we'll get his thoughts about this upcoming year's Big 33 game and against Maryland versus Pennsylvania this year, and what else he has in store for this year's Big 33 game. And last year's was really good, Santos.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a close one, I believe. And back to Jordan Hill, Trinity High School is a very good high school for football. They're state runner-ups a couple years ago, I believe, and they're just an extraordinary team. All the teams over here are really good, especially in District 11 as well. So that's something we have to look out for this year with Trinity High School and Cumberland Valley. With all these teams coming up this year, this is going to be a great atmosphere and a great season for these teams.
We mentioned Jordan Hill, Jordan Hill, the head coach of Trinity High School, as you were talking about just now momentarily, Santos. He was a day 2 pick in the NFL draft. Day 2 of the NFL draft is tonight. Went to Penn State, played football at all levels, high school, college, and professional football with the Seahawks. Won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks back in 2014. Now as the head coach, made a good career in football. Now is coaching high school football in Pennsylvania. So we'll get his thoughts later on if he is here and is going to join us, and we'll get many other coaches' thoughts as well. So what are you looking forward to? Who are you looking forward to? Obviously, we talked to many head coaches, but who you want to look forward to talking and getting their thoughts today, Santos?
Well, obviously, number one, Ron Johnson, getting his take on everything. But if he's here, Jordan Hill, to see what his experience was playing for Penn State, and getting drafted in the second round is not bad. At least he got drafted. At least he wasn't undrafted. That's something great. him and Ron Johnson have a little bit of experience both in the NFL, so that must be something to talk about, especially with Ron Johnson being an Eagles player, and sorry,
Yeah, getting drafted, getting going undrafted in the 2000, I believe, 5 NFL draft was Ron Johnson. Played a few years, played about a season with the Philadelphia Eagles, or not 2005, about 2003. Playing a season with the Philadelphia Eagles, and obviously then had an injury. Then he got his finish, went back and finished his degree. I believe, or got his degree, relied on his education. That's why he always puts emphasis on education, because football does not last forever. He always says, get your degree, get good grades, have your options, and obviously that's what I love most about when he ends that with the combine. He could talk about football and how importance of that and get his thought, get feedback from the day, but he always ends the combines with, academics and how important those is, and how now is not the time in April when the school year's winding down. Finish the school year strong, good study for your finals, get good grades, and closing out this marking period in the school year really strong.
yes,
So I honestly think I'm looking forward to catching up with Ron Johnson again, obviously talking to Jordan Hill, but Josh Oswald of the Cumberland Valley head coach, it's his own backyard, and I'm looking forward to see what he has, his thoughts about his guys, his thoughts on his guys in the combine and his upcoming season, and many more stuff like that. Santos.
yeah. It's gonna be great to talk to these wonderful coaches, and to get their feedback on how they think today might go, and how it might go for the future. But Ron Johnson, not that many coaches can say. I mean, I feel like every coach should, but I mean, coaches do emphasize on what education means to the young body. Education always should come first, no matter what sport you play. Doesn't matter if you're going D1. D1's going to be harder than high school, I believe. So it depends on how good you are academically. Yes, athleticism counts, but academically, you have to be that guy in academics if you want to make it big in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Ron always talks about his journey and how, he went back and finished his degree, and the importance now he puts on education. Now, he was his, and he talks about his journey. We're going to ask him about recap his journey. We heard it a few times, but for y'all listening at home that have not been able to hear Ron's journey, it's quite the experience, and now the importance of him putting on these combines and giving these young uncommits an opportunity to showcase their skills at these combines is very good. And these are professionally pro-style combines, and I believe some of them are setting up some drills outside here. We're going to try to come outside in maybe about 10 minutes. It depends on how things move inside, and then they're going to transition to positional stuff outside. That was the plan for today. And I believe we're still waiting for Josh Oswald, the head coach from Cumberland Valley, to come out and join us to get his thoughts about today and his upcoming season and so much more we have in store for you today. We have a very action-packed combine, that's for sure.
Yes, we do. I can't wait for the Cumberland Valley coach to talk about his own little stadium here. It's a great stadium. It's great to be here. I believe they renovated it last year, is what I was being told. I think you told me that, which is great to hear that, because the stadium is beautiful. The way it looks, the way it's set up, it's a beautiful stadium.
Very good facility. We also mentioned about I never got my thoughts about my favorite positions. Obviously, I asked your thoughts, Santos. But obviously, what I'm looking forward to watching today are obviously some one-on-ones. But I'm looking forward to watching some defensive and offensive lineman drills. Last night, watching the NFL draft really got me in the mood. A lot of offensive tackles and defensive edge rusher, defensive ends. The position Ron Johnson played in defensive tackle, Jordan Hill played. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll get their thoughts on some prospects on not only on the field, but NFL, get their thoughts on some picks tonight too. But there's so much talent on this field. But I'm looking forward to watching some of those drills take place today. And obviously they look like they have some vertical jumps going on the other side, on the Chapman Fieldhouse, that's for sure. But we're still, like I mentioned earlier, we're still waiting for Josh Oswald to get his thoughts right now. We're still waiting for him to come up and give us some insight right now, but I'll read some of obviously some names here for you. William Barrett, class of 2027, offensive line and defensive line, something we were just talking about earlier. Ian Bates, class of 2025, running back and cornerback. Chase Bonner, class of 2025, running back and cornerback. Kevin Bradia, fullback and linebacker. Ryan Bryan, 2025, class of 2025, quarterback. Noah Brown, 2024, offensive line and defensive line, still undecided where he wants to go. Obviously, all this combine is for the classes uncommitted, players uncommitted to university. So they're looking to continue to get some opportunities to hopefully get a scholarship, be able to play football at the next level. I believe we're going to just step away for just one moment real fast, and then when we come back on the other side, I believe we will have Coach Josh Oswald come on. Joining us right now is Cumberland Valley head coach Josh Oswald. Coach, tell us a little bit more about this combine. What you have stuck out for you today so far? I know guys are just warming up, but give us immediate thoughts about today.
Well, this will be the third year that we're hosting this. As a member of the executive board on the State Coaches Association, we wanted to build a combine that does things the right way, right? So we wanted to provide this atmosphere and platform for all kids in our area, in our state, and then have our coaches run the drills and do all the testing. Numbers are about. They're about the same where they've been. I think the weather kind of held some folks away. But this is the first one in our series. So we have two more after this one today. And we're going to provide the opportunity for kids to get out there. And, we have college coaches here already checking guys out live. And they'll transfer out here to the field here eventually. And it just allows us to get out and do some football stuff in April, which is a lot of fun.
How beneficial is this for you as a coaching staff to get hands-on more with other guys and your guys as well? Talk to us a little bit about that.
I mean, we're all passionate about the sport here, I got Joe Heaton out there, the head coach of Susquehanna Township, getting his drills set up. It just gives us an opportunity as coaches to work together when we don't get to do that. During the season, we're all, fighting each other, So Anytime we get an opportunity to go out and just do football and work with kids and develop kids, we're going to do it.
You also mentioned that you're fighting out there with each other, but do you think this is a good opportunity just for you guys as coaches to bounce a little bit of knowledge off each other about different football things, different aspects, some different drills that you might not incorporate in your practice that you're going to take from some of these other coaches as well?
That's what the off season's all about. I mean, you can do so much just working in a classroom or doing clinics or doing different chalk talks and stuff with guys, but out here on the field and being able to share different tips. Also out in the field we have Trinity High School coaches, Jordan Hill and Michael Motti, guys that both played in the NFL, so they give us tips that that they've learned at that higher level that we can kind of water it down for our high schoolers, and it's just a good fellowship. I mean, we all coach for a reason. We all coach for similar reasons, and it's good to show the players that we're not all at each other's throats. We're willing to work together. We're all willing to learn, and not everybody knows everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to us a little bit about your 22 season right now. Thoughts on your past season 2022 and some of your 2023 season, of course.
Yeah, I mean, last year we were able to break through, get back in the playoffs. It would have been the first time since I've been back at Cumberland Valley. This year, we're trending in the right direction, in my opinion. We have a lot of returning starters, a lot of returning experience, a lot of returning leaders, and we're excited. I feel that we're opening up week one with arguably the top dog in District 3 with Manheim Township, who knocked us out of the playoffs last year. So we're excited. It gives us an opportunity to get a measuring stick early.
Really, obviously a little bit of revenge factors, but you mentioned some returning starters. Take us through a little bit some of your returning starters from last year's team that made the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, we start up front with our offensive line. We have 3 returning offensive line starters. We have a running back returner. We have all of our receivers back except for one. We have to replace the tough one on offense at quarterback. Isaac Sines is going to Millersville next year, so we'll have to find a new guy to call the signals. But defensively, most of us are back. So it gets us excited because, experience is everything. And you really know who they are as players when they play on Friday night. It's tough to figure it out between now and then, though.
How good can you think this? I know it's early and it's in April. You haven't really seen this team on practice field, but on paper, how good do you think this team could really be?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a place where you want to say, we're going to go undefeated, because this is a league and a schedule that's probably one of the toughest in the state. But I believe that we're going to be in every game this year. They have an opportunity to win every game, and we're going to be challenged every week. There's not going to be a week where we go in and we walk through a win and get false hopes. So we'll be challenged each week, and we'll have to bring it each week if we want to earn a win.
What's it like working with, obviously, Ron Johnson, especially with him right now? The emphasis he puts on academics. What's it like working with him and talking with him and having the same kind of vision as him?
Well, I'm kind of privileged. I followed in Ron's footsteps. I went to Shippensburg University with the same mentor and Rocky Reese, Mark Macheski, who's now the current head coach. Rocky was our coach when we were there, but taught us a lot about the importance of doing well in the classroom, being a good person, being a good family person. So Ron and I are brothers. I mean, we have the same mentality, we have the same, philosophies, and when I was down at Central York coaching, it was fun to be able to coach against him and get after it a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's family.
Yeah, absolutely. It's April right now. School's winding down for some. In a few weeks, a lot of your guys are going to be taking finals and then getting released for summer break. What is your message for your team heading into the stretch period of the school year with finals and then getting back into training camp during the summertime?
I always tell our kids, first of all, if you want to play college football, there's going to be a spot for you. The only way that doesn't happen is if you don't do well in the classroom. So if you don't perform in the classroom, that's an easy way for a college coach to say, hey, I don't have a spot for him. I can't get him into school. As far as the football aspect and training, the message is always our opponent's working today too. So if you're going to take the day off and find an excuse to get away from it, you're not going to be as good as the guy that we're going to compete against in the fall.
Last and final question from me, obviously. What are you really looking forward to watching today? Obviously, I see you floating with some of your guys, some of your players and your staff. What are you looking forward to most today?
Again, just watching the coach and player interaction. But ultimately, at the end here, the competition, having guys get after it in a one-on-one setup, whether it be a big guy and do one-on-ones or the skills doing one-on-ones, and just watching guys go and compete and have a good time in the best sport there is.
You won the bid last year with the state playoffs here, state finals. We were talking about it earlier. We were like, what if they win? What if they win that chance? So what's it like to have that come around here to see the PIAA state finals come around in Cumberland Valley?
I just think we're second to none as far as giving a great atmosphere and everything off the field. When the teams came in the state finals, they were treated way better than I think they would anywhere else. I think anywhere from our maintenance crew to our cafeteria staff to my coaches all worked the event. We wanted to roll the red carpet out. The kids earned the right to be here. We wanted to make sure they felt like they were in a state championship, and I felt like we knocked it out of the park.
The atmosphere must be energetic here every Friday night lights. So can you tell us, what's going to motivate you as a coach to motivate these kids as players? What's going to motivate you to tell them, like, guys, this is the one we have to win, this is what we want to win? What's the motivation going into the season?
I mean, the energy that I bring. I mean, I think it shows, it just spews passion. I mean, this will be the start of my 14th year as a head coach. This will be my 16th year at coaching. And, I played for 16 plus years too. So this has been a part of my life since I was 5. And I don't imagine any August where it's not part of my life. And I share those experiences and live those experiences every day.
What is the most memorable moment from last season?
Oh man, there's so many. There's the good and the bad. There's the week 1 victory here to open up the stadium against Manheim Township, where we had to it was a beautiful night, but then in lightning, we got stuck in the locker room for an hour and a half, came back and finished the game, only for it to downpour on the last play of the game, where we ultimately won. And then there's the last play of our postseason. We got the ball, we threw the ball in the end zone, and our guy didn't come down with it. And it's the agony of defeat too. And but that's why we do it. It gives our guys a well-rounded experience for life, and those are things that you hang on to forever.
All right.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your time. And looking forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you.
We'll step away for momentarily, and then we'll come back. Welcome back, everybody. Joining us right now is Mark Walber of the Executive Director of the Maxwell Football Club. Mark, give us immediate thoughts right now about today and today's Rising Stars Football Combine and working with Ron Johnson and partnering with him.
It's a great opportunity for a lot of high school players to get out and show what they can do, and it's important these days for them to do things other than just have their game film. So exposure opportunities like this are very important. At the Maxwell Club, we've actually run showcases and combines for like the last 5 years, and I'm big on not trying to duplicate efforts, so these guys are doing a real nice job with this, so we're partnering with them, and we'll be participating in each one of these throughout the year leading up to the Big 33 game.
Absolutely, and talk to us a little bit more about not only your journey, but Ron, like the emphasis he puts on in the combines he puts on for these athletes. Talk to us about
it's
that.
obvious. Ron has a lot of passion for what he does, and I think that's the energy that makes something like this a successful event. And for us at Maxwell, we've been involved in football going back to the 1930s, so we're really engaged at the high school level all the way through the NFL, and the grassroots level, the high school level, is really important for us, especially in our home state of Pennsylvania. We do these outreach programs like this. We have a big scholar athlete program called the Mini-Max program, where we recognize players from all across the state, and also in New Jersey and Delaware. And it's something that's the backbone of what we do at Maxwell.
Talk to us a little bit more about your role with the Maxwell Football Club, being an executive director.
Okay, yeah, I'm a former teacher and high school coach. So I started when I finished up coaching, it was back in 1994. I started volunteering for the Maxwell Club, working with their programs, and was a volunteer for a long time. Became director of college awards in 2003, and in 2009 I became executive director. So I'm the operational manager, the COO of the company. I oversee our nonprofit side of things, our mission, all our compliance things, and then obviously our programs. So the high school program, we have a great group of people. We have in Pennsylvania alone, we have 15 people that work with that program. They run our Mini-Max program. They also participate at events like this. And then we have a similar group in New Jersey and in Delaware. So, it's a real good engagement opportunity for people who want to stay involved in the game. For me, myself, it's transitioned to a job. So I became director, and then I took over the whole operation with some great staff. We have an amazing board. Mark Diano, our president, has been around as long as I have. And there's too many people on our staff to mention. I'll forget somebody, but just a tremendous group of people.
You just had your Maxwell Awards, obviously. What was that like for you guys? You had a lot of names there: Brandon Graham, Nick Sirianni, and many more NFL players. It was a Super Bowl champion and a coach that just appeared in the Super Bowl. So what is that like to be around the game from high school all the way up to the highest level of football there is in the NFL?
Putting on that gala is like a labor of love, and it takes months to get that together. It was particularly interesting this year because we were back in Pennsylvania for the first time in 24 years. Yeah. So we had our gala here in Philadelphia from 1937 all the way up into 2002. And then we went down to Atlantic City. We were down at various casinos down there where we hosted it. And then we came back up to Pennsylvania this year. We were at Mohegan, Pennsylvania. So, we had everything from high school all the way through the NFL. We had Nick Sirianni, we had Brandon Graham, we had Jalen Hurts, we had, legend players. Joe Klecko was our legendary player this year. We had a bunch of college quarterbacks with us. So we had Drake May from North Carolina. We had Sean Clifford from Penn State was with us. And we had Will Howard, the young man who's quarterback at Kansas State, with us. So we had a really good group. We also had some tremendous high school players there. So it's kind of neat getting everybody together. They can visit. They can get to know each other. Those kids that are involved in that program have the opportunity to meet somebody like Jalen Hurts, and that's a memory they're going to have forever.
You took one of my questions right out of my mouth a little bit there. Talk to me about, you have a lot of high school kids there, obviously, and college kids. What do you think that's like for them? Seeing, guys like Nick Sirianni, such a successful coach now in the NFL, Brandon Graham, Jalen Hurts. So, Jalen Hurts was doubted in the NFL. Can he play in the NFL? Can he play at the highest level? Does he have the arm strength? How beneficial was that to have a kid watch his journey and then get to meet an underdog then when they're possibly being doubted themselves?
That's a great question, because I'm a big believer in there's a place for everybody in this game. So coming out of high school, you may not be a Division I player, you may not be a Power 5 player, but especially in the state of Pennsylvania, we have tremendous opportunities here. We have a great PSAC league with Division II football. I played in that level of football. We have Division III schools all over the state. So if you really love the game, you have that opportunity. I think getting directly to your question, I'm a believer in never selling somebody short. So, for example, with Jalen Hurts, I've followed Jalen closely since he went to Alabama, and I watched virtually every one of his games or game film while he was there. He was in our college awards program. He was considered for the Maxwell Award several times. Never won it, but was in the mix. We all know the story. You know, we had Tua come along and took the job down there, and Jalen really handled it like a man. He had a good support system. I give a lot of credit to Alabama. I think they helped him find a good home at Oklahoma. They got him into a spot where he could improve his quarterbacking skills. And if you get to know Jalen Hurts, if you ever have the opportunity, he's truly a man who gets it. He represents himself well. He treats people right. He is an incredibly hard worker. And he made himself into a quarterback. The Eagles were very astute to put some talent around him. And having A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to throw to certainly doesn't hurt. But, you know, I think that for the young guys who come to our program, the biggest thing is they can see the examples that these people set. And Jalen is a great example. Brandon Graham's another one. You know, you go back way before your guys' time, but in my time, Joe Klecko was probably one of the best, you know, defensive linemen I've ever seen play. I mean, he was an All-Pro at 3 different positions. He's a Hall of Famer. And, you know, coming up, I think it's important for young players to understand the history of this game. It's lost sometimes. You know, I'm getting older, and I think, well, you know, these guys don't know who Jim Brown is or people like that. And then I think, well, they probably don't know who Brian Westbrook is or, you know, Marshall Faulk. And time passes very fast. Yeah. So it's important, I think, if you really love the game, it's a great thing to be able to take time and learn about it.
You know, you mentioned it with Jalen Hurts, and this is my last question. I'll throw it over to Santos. But, you know, Jalen Hurts obviously conducts himself the right way. You know, we know his journey. He handled it like a pro, a true pro. And then he went through the vetting process, and he conducted himself the right way. That's something Ron preaches, is conducting yourself the right way. Be character, resiliency. So how important is that just for these athletes on the field to conduct themselves as the right way, conduct themselves in the community the right way, be leaders in their communities, and be a good family person and a good friend to others?
It's incredibly important. And I would tell you that it's more important than the game itself, because when you play football, it's going to end, and it normally ends quickly. It's not a gradual work yourself out. Tom Brady aside, you know, it's unforgiving that way. But the lessons that you can learn from the time you're a Pee Wee player all the way through, if you're good enough to play in college or in the professional ranks, there's things that carry through in the way you handle your business, the way you do things with your family. You learn to deal with failure, because everybody who plays this game is going to fail at some point. And I think that, you know, speaking from the standpoint of someone who's been around for a while, those lessons that I learned when I was 18, 17 years old are really still ingrained in my mind. And I know that's what, if you ask any coach that, they'll tell you the same thing. They'll tell you things their high school coach said to them, and it might have been 30 or 40, in my case, 40 plus years ago.
Absolutely.
You know, these kids, you know, they're here to show you guys what they can bring to the table going forward with their high school career and hopefully collegiate career. So can you tell us a little more? What is your message to these kids who are looking to really impress these coaches in high school and the collegiate level?
Well, I think the first thing in today's world is to do your work in school. Yeah. I can't emphasize that enough, and I told that to my own kids as they were growing up, and fortunately they listened. I mean, I look back on some of the things that I did as a student, and I cringe a little bit, because that would never fly in today's world, truthfully. Yep. They need to have the books. They need to be a good person in their school. They need to be respectful. And I think that foundation builds enough that a college coach is going to get a look at you, give you an interest. And like I said before, the biggest thing that I would tell to these young people is, don't get your head on I have to go play at Georgia, or I have to go to Penn State or Alabama. The very, very few people have been blessed with the ability to do that. But the game has opportunities for everybody, and we have so many wonderful opportunities in our own state, let alone the neighboring state. So I would encourage them to keep their mind open and find a place that is the fit for them, academically and athletically.
You and Ron Johnson have the same message with academics. Do you feel like some coaches should really enforce education to these younger kids going forward in their high school careers?
I think every student athlete should be encouraged to achieve to the best of their ability.
Yep.
For some, that might be getting a 2.5 or a CB average. Some, it's going to be an honor student. But there's some individuals that have challenges that others don't have. My message would be just to get help if you need it. Pay attention. Don't blow off your work. Try to get in a routine. Like when you're a football player and your coaches, you see them, you guys see them. Everybody's got a plan, and they usually stick to the plan if they're successful. So you need to do that as a student. You need to learn to manage time. You need to learn to manage, the way you interact with other people.
Yep.
We appreciate you joining us.
Yeah,
Mark,
my pleasure. Thank you.
We'll talk to you and catch up soon. And
Appreciate
after this,
it.
we'll step
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
step away. We'll have more interviews on the other side. Welcome back, everybody. Joining us right now is Marty and McNair from the Jordan McNair Foundation. And Marty, tell us a little bit in the audience at home about the Jordan McNair Foundation.
Great, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm Marty McNair, the founder and father of Jordan McNair, and the founder of the Jordan McNair Foundation. My son Jordan had a heat stroke back in 2018. He's a University of Maryland football player, and he passed 2 weeks later from complications of a heat stroke. And unfortunately, I wouldn't wish that on any parent, the grief of that. So we started a foundation really to, because one of the main things when Jordan was in the hospital those 2 weeks fighting for his life, I kept asking myself, what did I miss? So one of the things that I missed was, basically whenever I would come to events like this, I was just like all the other parents that were here. I was just standing around. All I ever did was sit in the bleachers, in the stands. I didn't know anything about any type of safety equipment or anything like that. So our foundation basically really focuses on the awareness, education, and the prevention of heat-related injuries. They're a lot more common than people think, and a lot more tragic than people think.
Very, very much so. Very much so. You have, especially in August when training camp rolls around and, players come in, and then some of these turfs can get up to 110 degrees. My dad officiated football for a long time at the collegiate level, so he's sometimes officiating on 110. You don't even realize it, your body's overheated. So tell us a little bit more about the audience at home, what the parents can be mindful about, preventing heat strokes and all that.
Yeah, so basically the main thing is initially to understand what a heat stroke is. When your core body temperature goes above 104 degrees, that's the equivalent of your body being in a microwave oven. And basically, you literally have 20 to 30 minutes to cool the core body temperature down before the damage is irreparable. So Jordan woke up May 28th, May 27th, a healthy kid, and Friday morning we were discussing a liver transplant with 85% of his liver being in necrosis. So 85% of his liver was dead as a result of him having a core temperature of 106 degrees for an hour and 43 minutes.
So you mentioned about his experience. So how important it is for coaches to also be mindful of their players when they're having these long practices, maybe 2 days in August and says. So my question to you is, how important is coaches to be mindful of player safety?
Yeah, extremely. The main thing is, unfortunately, the numbers are very, very staggering with statistics of student athletes that pass, whether it could be cardiac arrest, heat stroke, things like that. You mentioned August. However, the peak season really starts now. Jordan, he had a heat stroke on May 28th. It wasn't a hot day, but it was a humid day. And the main goal with a lot of coaches is really focus on the emergency action plans. Real prevention really starts with not letting kids get acclimated to the conditions. So it usually takes 7 to 14 days to acclimate, meaning that means that you shouldn't be doing anything strenuous for that period of time where you can physiologically get adjusted to the temperatures. Like you mentioned, a lot of turf fields, they get hotter, and coaches need to be aware of these things and have a solid practice emergency action plan, because it's not a matter of what's going to happen, it's a matter of when it's going to happen. So when you look at an EAP, that's the equivalent of a fire drill. So a fire can happen every day you walk on the field, and you have to be prepared in the event that a fire happens.
You talk about having a plan. So what would be a plan you would propose to coaches possibly to implement if they don't already have one for us?
Yeah, so if you don't have like an athletic trainer or something like that, basically an emergency action plan really kind of boils down to maybe like 5 simple steps. Basically, it's like, okay, who's going to call 911? Matter of fact, who's going to call 911? Who's going to call the student athlete's parents? Do you have the right safety equipment on the field? Do you have an AED machine within 3 to 5 minutes reach? Do you have a cold water tub on the field? Do anybody on the team and their coaching staff know CPR? So it's just a variety of things. If something happened right here, basically, it would boil down to who's going to go to the gate to bring the EMTs in, to let them know, because somebody can just say at this particular school, okay, well, it's an incident, but where's the incident at? Is it on the soccer field? Is it on the football field? Is it on the baseball field? So you have to be very, very venue specific in regards to these things. Then you also, when you have an emergency action plan, who's going to control the rest of the team? Who's going to control the crowd? So it's a lot of things that happen kind of like in some type of synchronicity, that in the event of something happening, we're prepared to do these things.
What does your foundation exactly do? What did you speak at, athletic facilities? Tell us a little bit more and go into a little bit more detail about the Jordan McNair Foundation.
Yeah.
What you guys do to help prevent student athletes from not having heat strokes.
Yeah, so basically education is the key. We focus on education. So we have a ton of parents here today. I agree to go in and do a parent education session, because basically what we teach is, really one of the things that I've realized when Jordan was fighting for his life in the hospital, it came back to what I didn't teach him. What did I miss as a father? And what I missed was, really I didn't teach Jordan to listen to his body. When his body told him to stop. I didn't teach him to, if he felt uncomfortable around a coach or another adult, or he saw something happening to a teammate, to speak up. See, I told Jordan to be coachable. So what that means, and a lot of parents, we basically teach our kids to be coachable. If that means, hey, coach says run through that brick wall, you run through that brick wall. That's a robot. So we have to empower and plant seeds of self-advocacy at a very, very early age to let young people speak for themselves, and something they don't feel comfortable, they can speak up for themselves. The game of football or the game of any sports doesn't stop because kids die.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned about that, being mindful about that, being coachable, but still having that self-awareness to speak up
Correct.
and look after your teammates, obviously. So what's it like been working with Ron Johnson, partnering with him, and about his being – he puts an emphasis on education not only for himself but his coaches and these players. So tell me a little about what it's like partnering with Ron.
Yeah, so this is our second year working with Ron. And the interesting thing, I always tell Ron, like, the extra added value is parent education. Because, again, at this particular age or where these student athletes are in their lives, parents need to know everything that I just mentioned. They need to know where the emergency action plan, if they have one. They need to ask the right questions. As parents, we usually ask 2 questions. And those 2 questions are, can they play and why aren't they playing? That's it. It's a laundry list of questions that should be asked long before we even worry about whether they can play or can they not play, to ensure our student athletes' safety. So this has been a really good opportunity to work with Ron, just to really, add an extra added value to the projects that he's doing or the clinics that he's doing.
Absolutely. You mentioned about the Jordan. Do you think the Jordan McNair Foundation has had an impact on coaches to now finally implement and be more mindful about their players instead of just running them? Coach says go run 3 miles. Do you think this has had an impact on coaches and being a little bit more mindful about their players, not necessarily over pushing them, but just what I'm trying to say is just being mindful of their safety, meaning that I'm going to take a little bit extra water breaks, say make sure my guys are okay, maybe shorten practice for take a little bit longer breaks. Do you think there have been more, you've reached some coaches being a little bit more mindful about their players' safety?
Well, yeah, I have. The main thing about advocacy is changing the mindset.
Yeah.
And if it was that easy, everybody would get it. So that's usually one of the uphill battles or the more impactful battles where you just try to have coaches just change that mindset from an old school, what worked when I played or what worked 20 years ago doesn't work nowadays. You have a different type of student athlete. So every time we educate, the more educated everyone is, the safer all of our kids are.
Absolutely. And last question for me. Tell us a little about your son's legacy, what position he played,
Yeah.
what was he like just in his community and as a teammate as well and as a son?
Great question. Jordan was a stellar athlete, lifelong athlete. He was 6'5", 300 pounds, a size 16 shoe. He had a smile that would light up the room. Highly recruited by every school in the nation, literally. We chose University of Maryland. As a parent, one of the main things is our job is to think about life after sports. Our job is to think about the 5th quarter, not the 4th quarter.
Absolutely.
And that's what we really prepare our children for. Jordan was, he was a better human being than me. His 19 years were very, very impactful. I thought Jordan would be getting drafted right about this time. He would be going in the draft. I didn't think that he'd be a household name or a poster boy for student athlete safety.
First off, I do want to say, on behalf of everyone else, we want to say we're sorry for your loss.
Sure.
But
thank you.
but you're carrying on his legacy.
Yep.
You're carrying on his name. So, you said you wouldn't wish this on any parent. So, and burying a kid isn't what any parent wants.
No.
But what was it like, to see that his name is being brought up more in a good way, to tell these people, hey, you shouldn't be doing this much activity when it's that hot outside?
Yeah, this has become a full-time position. I think for us, we've made the impact. Sometimes I'm still amazed at the impact that we've made. In the state of Maryland, we've literally gotten 4 laws passed in student athlete safety in Jordan's name, literally from the AAU level all the way up to the collegiate level, and basically just really set an excellent template really to take into other states or to just take across the board nationally to really create baseline standards. So yeah, his legacy is very, very strong. And not only do I speak for the Jordan McNair Foundation, you'd be surprised there's so many other families who've lost student athletes that may not have the national platform that we have, that we represent them as well. Yeah. So again, really it keeps getting bigger and bigger. Man, I'm still amazed. Like, this is the 5th year. June 13th will be the 5th year anniversary of Jordan's passing, and just really like your previous coach you just interviewed. We just had our 4th annual fundraiser, so we had a big masquerade ball last weekend that was very, very successful. Man, it's just the impact that we make And this is the main thing. I'm a firm believer. No matter how big or small your organization is, just as long as it's impactful, that's the main thing.
And what is your message to the players and athletic trainers and coaches going into this season? And,
Sure. For players, I tell all student athletes, listen to your body. Literally, listen to your body. When your body tells you to stop, stop. If you feel uncomfortable around a coach or an adult on the coaching staff, speak up. If you see something happening to one of your teammates that you don't feel comfortable with, speak up. To coaches, I say with coaches, create a partnership with your student athletes. Culture eats strategy. I'm taking one of Giano's phrases. I heard him say this at a coach's clinic a couple, but it was so true that culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Yeah.
And when you get young people to buy into the culture of care, concern, I care about you physically, I care about you mentally, I care about you spiritually and emotionally, they buy in, you'll have a successful season at that time. To parents, I say, please keep planting those seeds of self-advocacy and, again, use sports as a tool. Sports is only a tool. I mean, literally, it's a tool. If you can get education that parents don't have to come out of their pocket for, do that. But again, plant the seeds of self-advocacy to keep your student athletes safe, because I never ever thought that I'd be standing here giving an interview on this subject because, again, that's just what it was. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, Marty.
Hey, thank you. Some great questions.
Thank you for taking your time and telling us more about your son's legacy
Sure.
and the foundation he tries to build, and being an advocate for not only for student athletes but parents, and advocating for their sons and players' sons' safety. We'll take a short break. We'll have more interviews on the side. Thank you. We're not going to step away just yet. Marty is going to tell us a little bit about the Foundation's website.
Yeah, so if you want to know any of the work that we're doing, please go to the www.thejordanmcnairfoundation.org. You can follow us on Instagram. We're usually on most social media platforms, and I encourage everybody to purchase our book, Can My Child Play? The Questions We Should Have Asked. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty, for joining us. And now we're going to step away, and we'll be back with more interviews on the other side. Joining us now from Cumberland Valley High School is Director of the Big 33, Gary Cathell. Gary, obviously we interviewed you last year with Big 33 weekend. You know, what does the Big 33 have in store this weekend? It's more than just a weekend. It's more than just a game, of course. It's an entire weekend.
Well, as we count today, we're actually 30 days out from today. We will have all of our events again over the Memorial Day weekend. But we've extended what we call Big 33 Week. Big 33 Week is going to run from Saturday the 20th of May all the way until the game concludes on Sunday this year instead of on Memorial Day Monday, on Sunday with an evening game. We spread things out mainly because we had some heat issues, and we run a lot of events during the week, and you know, it was just a lot moving into a new venue. So we got our feet underneath us this year, and we look to have a really nice event, really nice plans for this year.
Well, obviously, there's more. You know, it's more of now an entire week. Tell us a little bit more about the events that are going to transpire during that week.
Absolutely. We start off on the 20th. That's Saturday with our cheerleading youth clinic and our football youth clinic. Those are our kickoff events for the week. The following day, actually, in early morning, we have the tryouts for the 2024 kickers, punters, and long snappers. This is going to be a first that we bring into that event during the day. And then we have our two East-West games on Sunday the 21st. The small game will be at noon, and the big school game will be in the evening at 5 p.m. So it'll be quite a weekend. Then we have a few days off, and the Big 33 teams from PA and Maryland will report on the 25th, which is Thursday, 26th, 27th practice, and we have some events going on. Players will meet their buddies, the players and the cheerleaders. I'm sure from last year, maybe all of you know about the buddy program, which is the children, and not even children, adults or children with special needs, and we'll pair them up with players and cheerleaders, and they'll all come in and get together the Saturday before the game. We have a nice meal together and have a great time. And then those children will also be at the game on Sunday.
I know you ask the kids if they're excited. They'll say yeah. But are you guys excited as an organization and the crew excited for this?
Yes, very much so. We're when we work all year for this game. I was just telling a couple of coaches in there. We were talking about all the things that we do all year long with the PSFCA, but we really start our planning for the game July 1st. So we give everybody kind of like a month to get away and breathe after the game, month of June, and then it's basically 11 months of planning and knocking on doors and setting things up and doing the things that we need to keep this game one of the premier games, premier All-Star games in the country.
What is your favorite day or activity throughout that whole week?
I tell you what, I'm gonna be very honest with you. During the game, I relax, but my favorite activities are really watching the buddies with the players and the cheerleaders. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. I don't know who gets more out of that relationship. I don't know if the players get more out of it or the buddies get more out of it, but it's so rewarding for everybody involved that again, it just totally amazes me how their bonds and their relationships are everlasting with some of these players. Some of the buddies have been there for many years, and they keep in touch with their players. They've gone to some of their players' college games. They've gone to some of their players' weddings. And, they become part of the family. Much like in one group that I did fail to mention here early was, which is also a big part of our game, our host families. We do not put our players in hotels or anything like that. We have host families from all across the central PA, particularly closer to Harrisburg, mainly because they have to get their players back and forth, but they will house the players while the whole time they are in, and they become a family member there as well.
That's probably that's probably one of my favorite things you told us last year with like the host families, and obviously, correct me if I'm wrong. We had a Super Bowl played last time we played, but Big 33 has had a representative in the Super Bowl every single year. Did that streak continue this year?
Absolutely, it did. And again, we have two slogans for our game. One is there's never been a Super Bowl without a Big 33 player. This is the 66th Big 33 game, and I do believe that we just finished the 52nd Super Bowl. I think it was 56. Yeah, 52, yes. 53, and there's been a representative from the Big 33 in that game. This past year we had 3 players and a coach, and when we actually got to the playoffs, the NFL playoffs, on the first weekend of the playoffs, we had a representative on all but 2 of the teams. So I was a little nervous for a while there, because if it was going to be, I think it was Seattle and, no, it wasn't Chicago. Oh, I can't believe I blanked out on it. But, it was the Cowboys. Micah Parsons, local kid here. It was the Cowboys and the Seahawks. If the Super Bowl was that, we were in trouble. I did have an answer for it, though.
Yeah.
We had, and that, again, I mentioned the name Micah Parsons came up. Micah actually was selected to play in the game, but he couldn't play because he early enrolled at Penn State. So if it came down to that scenario, guess what? Micah was going to represent us.
Yeah, we'll call him an honorary member of the Big 33.
Yes, sir.
But what does that say about the Big 33 and not just Pennsylvania football, but Maryland football, to be able to produce, such high-end talent that plays in the biggest game and reaches football's mountaintop each and every year? We're
very blessed to have one of the most respected states in the country. I personally sit on the national board with executive directors from all over the country, and Pennsylvania is treated with a lot of respect. You have your Texas football, you have your Georgia football, Florida football, Ohio football, and Pennsylvania is right in there with all of them, and we're very proud of that. We try to do the best things that we can for our coaches and our players. We try to be on the cutting edge with equipment and technology, and getting the word out with a lot of the activities that we do, and really try to take care of our players, much like where we're at here tonight. We had a great turnout even on a rainy night tonight with our first combine of the year. And these combines here, I'm going to talk about the combines here for a minute. I'm sure you guys are going to lead in, but these combines are starting to pick up steam for us. Third year, and again, rainy night in central PA, Friday night, we got close to 100 players here.
It's good to hear.
What's about, you mentioned obviously they're picking up steam. How are they picking up steam? I know obviously each year they change, and Ron does such a great job of incorporating new stuff every single year, getting more sponsors, getting more coaches here, getting more players. So tell us a little bit more how they're changing and what it's like working with Ron Johnson.
Sure. We as the PSFCA or the Coaches Association, it's been a blessing for us to get paired up with Ron. When I became the executive director of the Big 33 game, I met Ron out here, and we kind of hit it off. And his idea of what football should look like, how people should be treated, how you should act, are in line with the principles that we want to have and establish with the Coaches Association. And Ron, he's such a hard worker. He's done all the things that you said. He's gone out and getting new sponsors. We actually have him working on the Big 33 side as well. He has a great presence, does a nice job with his kids. He's a very good coach, and more importantly, he's a very good person. So I think that in itself, the quality of what we give the athletes when they come, they want to come back. So, and our hopes is that they bring their buddies when they come back.
Absolutely. And Gary, we appreciate you joining us, and we're very looking forward to this year's Big 33 game taking place May, 28th?
It'll be May 28th.
May 28th, and that entire week. We're going to take a short little break, and we're going to have continue our interviews on the other side. Welcome back here to Cumberland Valley High School, and joining us now is Jordan Hill, head coach of Trinity High School. Jordan, coach, what is it like these combines like for you as a coach and just as a former player as well?
I think it would be more for the former player in me to be able to come out here and kind of, spread the knowledge that I have playing one in their shoes in high school, being able to go and play Division I football at Penn State, and then ultimately playing in the NFL, sharing my experiences and sharing the enthusiasm and the relentlessness and how this thing's really supposed to be done.
Absolutely. And talk to us a little bit more about partnering with Ron Johnson, of course, the Rise to Stars Football Academy, the message he brings and the environments he brings and the combines he brings and the knowledge he brings, also more NFL experience there as well.
Yeah. So, I would do a lot for Ron. Ron was one of the first guys that, reached out to me when I was young. I think it was my first year, even before I played my first season in the NFL, reaching out, congratulating me and having me at, his Rising Stars camp. This would have been back in 2013, so 10 years ago already now. So I've known Ron for 10 years now. And, when I was still playing, I'd go back each and every summer to support him and his cause.
Going from, Penn State to NFL, what was the difference like? I can only imagine it's a big difference, but what was it like for you going to transfer through all that from the big leagues?
I think the biggest difference, and everybody says it, like high school to college and college to pros, is the speed of the football. Mm-hmm. But it's really like the individual skill guys and how fast, they'll move. So it's like, hey, you take a wrong step, you're supposed to take a 45-degree step as a defensive lineman, you're stunting or something like that, and you can still leverage yourself, get off the block and make a play. Well, hey, in the NFL, you could still be able to leverage yourself, get off the block, but that running back's 5 yards down the field already. Yeah.
What's it like, going from the NFL to teaching a very good high school program that you're at right now? What has that been like for you to be in that position?
I'm having a lot of fun. When I retired, I ran from the game for a little bit. I had a lot of injury my last 2 years, and it was more like a mental game. And, I started working with kids individually around here in Harrisburg, and I seen the successes of them, right? And it wasn't like, hey, these guys are all just going Division I and going pro. It was the little things that I could see in them getting better and how that affected them personally. Yeah. And that made me jump back into the game full blown.
Obviously, what was that like playing at Penn State, under, I believe, James Franklin was still there at the time, right there, joining in. So what was it like playing under him and then eventually Pete Carroll?
So I played for Joe Paterno for 3, and then I played for Bill O'Brien 1, and then I was able to actually be around the program up at Penn State for a little bit while I was still playing. So I've got a unique kind of perspective on it all because I've been around all 3. It's very strict. In the really Penn State way, with Joe, success with honor, that was the biggest transition going from that program to really the NFL and playing for Pete Carroll because the philosophy wasn't the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, tonight is obviously day 2 of the NFL draft, rounds, I believe, 2 through 4. What was your drafting experience like, of course? How, that's probably a very stressful going through, obviously, the interviewing, pre-draft visits, the interview process. What was that like for you? Those like that experience like for you as a player, the interviews and then the draft night itself?
Yeah, draft night is one of those nights. It's a dream to reality, kind of like, you rarely get things where you work so hard and you get it right in a moment, and it was bottled up in a moment. It was funny because the pre-draft grade was 2nd or 3rd, so I had some anticipation on being drafted that day too. Was fortunate enough to go 3rd round, 87th overall. But that whole night in a whole, I remember basically everything vividly, right? Yeah. From the chair that I sat in to the conversations that I had. It is stressful. I thought I was going to be drafted by the Cowboys. They had 2 in the 3rd round that year. They told me they were going to pick me with one of them. Both of them went by. Didn't think I was going to go that night and fall. I had my family up in State College because I stayed in my apartment up there. Had people up, friends and whatnot. And, it was like that moment where you don't want to happen, right? Where you get embarrassed, you get people up, you're supposed to get drafted. Yeah. But when that call came through, you you get a rush of emotion, and literally all the hard work that you put in kind of it comes true overnight.
What was it like? What's your message to these kids? The freshmen, sophomores, juniors. What's your message to them going into to the next level of football?
Keep working, right? Keep working. That's such a vague kind of statement there, but with the keep working, I would say there's no light at the end of the tunnel, right? Because the day that you think you kind of made it, the day that you see that light is the day that you should stop playing football. So have that mindset to just continue to work each and every day. When you hit, you set goals, but you have objectives as well. And you continue to adjust, right? You can have a goal, but make sure there's objectives that are a little harder and a little, it can be unrealistic, but go after it each and every day.
Absolutely. So far, what has stood out to you this far about this combine, the first of the year for the Rising Stars Football Academy?
Yeah, I mean, it's a well-oiled machine, right? Like, you go out there, they know exactly what they're doing, when they're doing it, and the kids respond really well. So when you have some organization like that, it makes everything a lot smoother. The transition for these kids to go from testing to field work, it makes sense, and it makes it easier for them.
Obviously, tell us a little bit more about your 2022 season, how your program finished, and then what you guys are looking forward in 2023 and beyond for this team and some of your returning players as well.
Yeah. So I took over a program that it wasn't quite what it used to be at the point that I took it over. I think the year before, and it's unfair to kind of judge because it's during the COVID year and whatnot. But they struggled. Right, so I took over a program where the kids, they weren't quite sure if they wanted to play football. First year was a little rough, and we took a big leap this year. I scheduled some games that probably some people think we had no business playing, and we were able to go and get some experience right away. And that ended up, paying its dues later on in the year, where we're able to make it to the Final Four, going the farthest in the school's history.
Obviously, you have a returning sophomore running back at Mesa McKinnon. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, Masai's a special kid. Right, the play speaks for itself, but the determination, the work that he puts in the maturity level, for a kid that just turned 15 in December, it's tremendous. It's something that you really want. You want when you need a kid that obviously is good on the football field, but you need somebody off the field that is it's almost like a stepping stone kids can look at, and you're leading by example. There's things you do every single day. They're important, and then when you add your really good football player, it makes things a lot easier.
He already has offered from Penn State, so maybe he'll follow in your footsteps. But obviously, last night we mentioned the NFL draft with Jamar Gibbs and Bijan Jarvis, two good players with different running styles, different types of attributes. What are some of his good attributes? Does he get off the ball really fast? Does he see the hole really well? Does he explode? Does he fight for those extra yards, 3 or 4 extra yards after contact? So tell us a little bit more about his play style.
His football speed is unreal. He's when he sees a blade of grass or he sees a hole there, it's almost like he's running scared. When you run scared, you can't catch him. He will pull off on you in a second. And it doesn't look like he's moving that fast. And then you look at the separation, and he's 5 yards past the guy. I would say that and just his natural football instinct. Personally, I think he actually may be a better defensive football player. Might be a better defensive football player.
That's a bold statement, especially as a running back and offers as a running back as well.
I don't get mad at me. I'm an Ohio State fan, but seeing them play together. What was the most energetic game you've played at Penn State?
I would say personally it was probably my last game because it was my best game. We played Wisconsin. We knew that was the first year of the sanctions up there. We knew we were done playing football. It was the last time playing in Beaver Stadium. Wisconsin beat us bad the year before, like 41-7, Russell Wilson and those guys. So it was like a bit of payback. Last game, a lot of fans came out to support us because of the circumstances we were put in. Yeah. And then to go out there and have probably my best game I had as a Nittany Lion, that meant a lot to me. But the whiteouts are unreal. Yeah. The first full stadium whiteout was in 2007 against Notre Dame, and I was getting recruited. I was still young. But that one I remember vividly because my dad he was a man. He just passed away in July, but he didn't say many words, right, at all. I didn't know certain teams that he liked and didn't say nothing. And the moment I seen him up cheering and like doing the "We Are" chant, I kind of knew that's where I wanted to go, and it was a different feel.
And it must have been an experience for you to play with you didn't know your future QB and Russell Wilson. So what was that? Did you guys talk about that game when they beat you 41-7? Or was there any conversation about that? Or
Oh,
was
the
it
first
just,
weekend that Russ came back into town after rookie minicamp, he made sure I knew.
he made sure you heard about it a little bit.
I told him, I'm like, hey, bud, I don't forget kind of things like that. So,
Yeah. Obviously, my final question is for you, and obviously, you had the fortune enough to reach football's highest mountain and lifting that Lombardi Trophy. Tell us a little bit what that was like for you. You reached that goal, and I believe it was your rookie year with the Seahawks.
Yep. So I mean, first things first, like truly blessed, truly blessed to be able to go into the league and win a Super Bowl your first year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My first two, I was spoiled because that's what I thought football was. Like all success. We went to 2 Super Bowls. We won 1. We ended up losing that second one to the Patriots there last second. But that we thought that's what football was, especially my class that year. It's like, hey, you played in February, right? It was also cool that year we won it because it was like a homecoming for me.
Yeah.
We won that game up in New York City, in the Meadowlands. So being from the general area and then flying the farthest place you can go from Harrisburg to play football and come home and win it meant a lot.
Yeah.
One more question, that's it. What was it like being on the same field with Tom Brady and especially Seahawks at that time and with the Patriots at that time with Big Belichick and Steve Carroll? What was it like?
It's just kind of like not as crazy as a draft night when you get drafted and all that stuff, but it's one of those deals where it's like, man, this is the best guy that I grew up watching.
Yeah.
Like, not just right now. It was like when I was a kid, he was the best, or just winning his first Super Bowl. What, 2001 or 03, something like that?
2001.
Yeah. Right? And I'm watching the game, and I'm playing against that guy.
Yeah.
Ironic enough with that question, that was actually my last play in football. My football career was going to sack him. I tore my bicep, like probably me to you, tore my bicep going to sack Tom Brady. So it was like one of those deals. Like I get that kind of memory as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jordan, Coach, we appreciate you joining us today. Good luck this upcoming season. We're looking forward to speaking with you in the future. We're going to step away, and we're going to have continue our interviews on the other side.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, everybody, to Cumberland Valley High School. Derek Moore now joining alongside Santos Martinez. Now joining us, the man himself, Ron Johnson of Rising Stars Football Academy. Ron, overall thoughts of today so far? I know the weather's not exactly cooperating with you guys. You have some stuff inside, some stuff outside, but just immediate thoughts so far right now of today and how this is going.
I think even with the downpour and everything with the weather. It's a little chillier. Guys are out there having fun. This is what we experience in the fall. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's rainy and it's chilly, but all in all, if you love football, you're out here. So I commend my coaches for throwing on the rain gear, being out here. Also the college coaches for coming out in this weather too. But I think the kids are really enjoying their experience so far. And we're just happy that everybody could travel, from all over to be here to work out today.
Absolutely. Ryan's the Stars Football Academy, the past few years covering it, they continue to grow and add sponsors. So tell me what work goes into planning these combines, getting like host schools to come out and planning it. So tell me about how this has continued to grow year to year.
Well, we've developed a good relationship here at Cumberland Valley. Coach Josh has been amazing, giving us the opportunity to come here and host every year. This is the third year. Myself and him, we both played at Shippensburg. We didn't get to play at the same time. He was a little bit after me. But you can see some of the same philosophies and fundamentals that our coaches taught us through coaching, being coached by the same staff, Coach Reese and those guys. We have a lot of the same thoughts and beliefs, and sometimes we've had to go head-to-head on Friday nights coaching our teams. But the entire coaching staff here, the admin at Cumberland Valley, we're really appreciative of them giving us this opportunity. Some great sponsors that we have is the Jordan McNair Foundation, which you heard from Mr. McNair earlier. We have Massive, the glove company. They are California-based, but they are providing gloves for the entire Big 33 team this year. Northwestern Mutual, they will be at our Perkiomen Valley Combine to provide education and financial literacy as far as teaching parents and kids how to save and how to plan for college on a financial basis here. So we also have EarthFed, local company in Kutztown, PA, good natural plant-based products, proteins and electrolytes and so many other products. You can visit their website as well. And then I'd like to thank the Maxwell Club, Maxwell Football Club, for providing so much to us. Countless footballs to be able to use, but also the soft shell helmets for all of our athletes here, and then throughout all of our combines. I think it was over 300 and some plus mouthpieces, headwear, so many things that they donated as far as Gatorade coolers, Gatorade chest, and also the tents. So this wouldn't be possible without our sponsors, but also a big entire team that we've had, some of our special guests, NFL players and Division I, II, and III players that you've heard speak on the broadcast today.
Obviously, you talked about, going head-to-head with some of these coaches on Friday night. So what is it like for you coaches and now former players to, bounce knowledge off each other at these combines for these young student athletes that are undecided?
I think the best thing is that we have one common goal, which is to pass along the lessons that were taught to us by our coaches that we have had at every level, but also to each other. Collectively, we're here for the kids to help them, teach them techniques and skills. We want them to all use the techniques and skills that they are taught by their high school coaches. But I think it helps that, we can share some of the knowledge too to help improve their game, but to help give them an opportunity to really showcase their skills in front of the college coaches today.
What do you feel is a big motivation to these kids coming into this weekend? I know it's a little far from most of these, but I feel like you've had a good turnout. So what do you feel the motivation is for these kids coming here?
Well, the kids love football. That's the most important thing. We say that we're more than football because we're about student-athlete development, leadership, just doing the right things in the classroom, on the field, and in the community. So that's also part of it. What we're doing tonight for 2-3 hours on the field, the game is bigger than that as far as the opportunities that these guys have here and potentially someday to play in college and maybe beyond. This game of football has taken me all around the world and some of our guest speakers that you've heard. So football was a tool that gave us opportunities to get our education, to go on and now have careers as far as our second professional careers. So we just want to share our knowledge, our experience and skills with these kids, motivate them, but also try to motivate and help them to do the right things in life and just be good people in general.
We know that your goal to these kids is yes, you're athletes, but school comes first. So what is the message to these kids, with academics and putting that first before anything?
The first word in student athlete is student. You have to do the right things in the classroom. You have to take care of your academics. That's something that, I'm 43 years old. I can't rewind time, but if I could go back, that's something that I definitely would have changed. Doesn't matter how many touchdowns, how many sacks, how fast I ran, the 40, the 100, 200, long jump, triple, could dunk a basketball. None of that matters unless you're doing the right things in the classroom. So it was very foolish of me to not try my best in the classroom and to just kind of breeze my way through school. That was very foolish and very dumb of me. So I'd be crazy and foolish to not share that message. My message with kids is give yourself opportunities, try your best, work hard, ask for help, do the right things, be a good person in the community, give back to the community, give back to youth, try to help them the best that you can, and create opportunities for yourself and see where it goes. But your opportunities could be endless if you're just doing the right things.
My favorite thing about, not only doing these combines, but, you're probably going to gather these guys at midfield at the end. And you're probably going to, I'm a college student right now. I'm heading towards my finals week right now. Is that something you always end all their combines with, is like, now's not the time to coast, finish strong, continue to do the right thing at all your events?
Yes, because these guys have a couple weeks left of school. I want to say like 3-4 weeks maybe. Proms are here. Districts and state championships are coming up. It's easy when the weather gets warm to not focus on your academics and want to focus on being outside, doing other things. Summer's getting ready to be here in a minute, but you just want to like kind of compare it to the fourth quarter of a game, that you're in the fourth quarter now. You got a couple weeks. You can't coast. You can't coast in a game on a Friday night. You want to finish strong. So once we start talking like that, they understand. But they genuinely understand we want the very best for them, whether that's advice. If they ever call us and ask for help, if it's trying to connect them with a college coach, we want to do that, share their information upon their approval. But this is us giving back, and that's part of what the Big 33 PSFCA Rising Stars Football Academy is about, is trying to help out as many student athletes as we can to motivate them, but also give them opportunities to succeed in life.
Absolutely. Take us, do you have any players here? And obviously, take us through, your upcoming season. You being a defensive line at Red Lion High School, defensive coach there. Take us through your upcoming season, and then recap a little bit of your 2022 season, what you're looking forward to, not only this last season, but this upcoming season as well. So take us through this.
We're excited for this year because we had a lot of young guys that had to step up. Some guys may not have been quite there ready to jump into a game, but as coaches, our coaches always told us, next man up. So when you're dinged up, when you're a little down, you have a couple injuries, next man up. Sometimes you turn around on a Friday night, hey, you ready to go in? And sometimes it's funny as a coach afterwards, after the game, you think back to their eyes and how big they were. But this is what it's about, and these kids have to be ready because it is always next man up. You never know what's going to happen. So those guys that got a year under their belt, especially as sophomores, they've been in the weight room working hard all year, all summer. We're getting ready to do spring ball here, so I'm excited to see how that translates as far as what they've been doing in the offseason. And finally, when we step onto the field here, visibly they're a lot bigger and stronger, but also they've been watching a lot more film too. So we're excited for this upcoming season.
You mentioned some guys had to step up. Like, who had to step up last year, and then who's going to have to step up this year as well?
A lot of our sophomores had to just be prepared and ready to go, and some of the juniors maybe that hadn't seen the field yet. But we have a good core of kids that really work hard. They stayed positive all year. We all have our ups and downs sometimes, but some of our talks after the game, those kids were hungry and ready and didn't get down on themselves. They were just ready to go, and you got to move on. Same thing in the NFL and collegiate football as well. If you experience a loss, if you experience a couple losses in a row, you got to just go back and push and work harder. So the positive messages that we shared with our kids to bounce back, they soak that up. And, when I tell you that they're hungry, just hearing them talk in the weight room, how they carry themselves, how they're doing the right things in school, I think our young guys are ready to go this year.
I don't have any questions now. You took all the questions out of my mouth.
So talk us a little bit more about the importance of being a student athlete, being a good teammate, being good to your friends and family off the field, stuff like that. What people look for, because obviously right now the NFL draft's going on, so teams are doing like the background research on players, getting their background of how they conduct themselves as a person, teammate, all that. Other coaches do that too at the collegiate level just as much as they do at the professional level. So take us how much of the importance is being a good teammate, student athlete, good person, good family person, a good friend to everybody.
When we talk to the Division I coaches, Division II and III, they will tell you that sometimes when they go into a school and ask about a kid, they will ask the cafeteria ladies, they will ask the janitors, custodians, they will ask bus drivers, whoever. They're just trying to see what type of kid they are about to get at their school. Is it a good person? Do they work hard? Do they help out? Do they give back to the community? So overall, we're talking about how much bigger this is in football, because as a school, you are representing that school if they offer you a scholarship. So sometimes, we know what kids can do on film. We know what they can do in person. But, I tell kids when they go on visits, treat it like an interview. When my son was going through the recruiting process for basketball, he plays college basketball now. We did visit a school one time, and I was just proud of my son, how he was talking to the coaches, walking with them, asking them about the school, what drew them there, why the coaches wanted to be there, asking them about the academics, the graduation rates with the basketball players. He did that on his own, and I was just kind of hanging back about 20 yards behind him, and I was proud to see that. But something that I saw too was I did see some kids on their phones and not really paying attention to what the coaches were saying. So as a coach, I'm going to pay attention to that. If you're not paying attention to me, you're on your phone. If you're on social media while we're on our tour, if you're not doing the right things on social media, coaches can see that. So it is like an interview. I was quite impressed with one young man that came to our combines last year, Cole Sullivan. Cole has 25 plus high-level Division I offers from just about every school that you can think of. The thing that I was immediately impressed by as a sophomore, and he walked in the gates, was he came up and shook my hand and all of our coaches' hands and thanked us for the opportunity. That was the first impression that he made, because it was refreshing to see that. It tells a lot about how he was raised by his parents, but that's the type of kid that he is. Throughout the combine, he worked hard. He pushed himself. He was positive. At the very end, he came back around and thanked everybody and shook all of our hands. Not just that, 2 days later, sent an email thanking us once again. So it's those things that kid is treating it like a business opportunity. So I can imagine when he's going all across the country to these high-level schools, those coaches are very impressed with him as well. So, yes, seeing him on film, seeing him live, 6'5", 6'6", being able to fly down the field, that's impressive. But the little things is what matters. So that's our same message to these kids too, is just doing the little things, doing the things right, trying your best, be respectful, thank people, help people, give back, and, good things will return and come back your way.
Absolutely, good things will always come around. It's almost kind of like, and when you're in the film room, those details matter. These colleges and coaches, obviously college coaches, look for those details like that you do in the film room when you're looking at details on your opponent. But obviously, get us a little bit more about into your journey. You went to Shippensburg, played football there. You had a lot of mentors there, and then eventually went into the NFL. So take the audience. I know we've talked about it a few times around, but for those who don't know your journey, take us through your journey from Shippensburg to the NFL and eventually where you are right now and career-wise.
Sure. So I did speak about my academics, going on some visits to some pretty big schools and being excited to think that I could play there. I knew I could play there physically and I could do it, but I wasn't doing the right things in the classroom. So I had to take a different path, and that was going smaller school, Division II, Shippensburg University, enrolling in summer school as a Prop 48, meaning I had to redshirt, I had to participate in summer school just to make sure that I could even get through college or get that scholarship. So that was a great experience, but it helped me grow up fast and focus on my goals. My academics were better than they ever had been. I was hitting the weight room, gained 25 pounds of positive weight, was getting all A's in school, and I was actually liking school and my academics for the first time. I drew more interest into it. So the next year I started as a redshirt freshman, was all conference, was on an All-American list, and from there just worked hard throughout my years and succeeded in the PSAC, and we were in the West at the time. But I had great coaches, I had great teammates, still talk to a lot of those guys, and we have a lot of laughs about some of our top games that we had. But it's because of them that they inspired me to work hard and do my best and to watch film and try to make we try to make each other better. From SHIP, the most important thing that I'll say to these kids is I graduated with a degree in speech communications, which has given me the opportunity, obviously, right now to speak to you guys. So that's the most important thing that I gained out of graduating from Shippensburg University. 20 years ago this weekend, I was sitting around the TV hoping that I was going to be rounds 4 through 7 is what I was told by most teams, that I could be like a late round pick. When the final name of the 2003 draft was announced, it wasn't me. But a minute later, Mr. Jim Monis called and said, "Hey, Ron, do you still want to be an Eagle?" Now, I started bawling. I started crying as big as I was, snot bubbles and everything. I was holding my son, and we were just happy and excited. We were jumping up and down. But thinking of some of the obstacles and some of the things that I put myself through and had to overcome, it was that moment, that opportunity that I reached it. But there was more work to do, So I was selected as a rookie free agent. There were 22 of us free agents brought into camp. 4 of us actually made the active roster. 4 out of the 22 guys that were undrafted in 2003. So me coming from a small school, I just want these kids to see that, a kid asked me earlier, how did you make it, or you made it from Division II? Yes, because it was hard work and determination and pushing through, but having heart and believing in myself. So because you go to a small school, Division II, wherever, don't think, that you can't make it. You still got to believe in yourself. You have to work a little bit harder probably, and you can't mess up as much probably on the field, but it's about just chasing that dream and doing your best. So made it all the way to the final cuts. I got released for a day, claimed back off of waivers, brought back for the practice squad for 3 weeks in the 2003 at the beginning of the season, and then signed to the active roster. My first game was against it was down in Dallas against Cowboys. I didn't see any action that game, but the next game, I teased some of the Giants fans. I was in on the punt return when Westbrook ran back the punt return up the sideline. I held my guy for maybe like 2 or 3 seconds, so I'd like to say I did something on that play to help us win. But that was my first game, and it just gives me the chills just thinking about how loud it was running down the field. But thinking back to all the people that helped me get there to that opportunity. And then also the people that told me that I couldn't do that or I wouldn't do that someday. Not to be negative, but I use that negative energy and make it positive. So a lot of these kids are told they can't, they won't, they never will be, that they can't do something or accomplish something. They have to use that negative energy and make it positive like I did. So just exciting to have all these opportunities here. But got injured, and that was all she wrote.
Obviously, what is one thing, did you have a moment in like your playing career where you felt like the NFL is obviously the highest level if you can go for football? Did you have a moment in like your NFL career where you finally felt like I can compete with some of these guys? Like obviously, you were stepping in with a locker room with Jeremiah Trotter, Brian Dawkins, Brian Westbrook, Trey Thomas, John Runyon, some of those names. Did you feel like was there a moment in training camp or just practice or in a game where you felt like I can play?
I think the very first time that I felt that was from John Harbaugh. We were on punt one day, and I never did special teams too much. That was kind of my time to take a break at Ship. But as a rookie free agent, you know that you have to be in there on everything, every and anything, and just chase that opportunity because you have draft picks sometimes that just, may not want to hop in there on special teams. But if you're trying to make the team, you will do whatever you have to do. So one day we were on punt, and I remember I was just giving everything I had to just fly downfield to try to impress the coaches. So that day after practice, watching film, Coach Harbaugh said, "Who is number 62?" He said, "Is that Johnson?" So I knew that I had his attention because he said, "You are flying." And that's all I wanted, was to be able to stick out and have Coach Harbaugh, Coach Reed, Jim Johnson, Sean McDermott, all those guys, really just to impress them, to show them that I'm here, I'm hungry, I'm ready to play. Give me an opportunity, give me a chance. I don't care if it's special teams. I don't care if I'm wearing number 62, which is not a defensive end number. Give me 00. I'm hungry, and I wanted to chase that opportunity. So I had that killer mentality, that instinct that you got to just believe in yourself and have confidence. Going against people from the SEC, guys who won at Bama, USC back in the day, Miami, one-on-ones, I wanted to honestly just give my best and try to crush as many people in front of me as I could, regardless of what school you went to, and I wanted to make a name for myself. So in my adult life now with business, I'm the same way. It's not cocky. It's to be confident in yourself and your capabilities. So that hunger and that drive that football teaches you, you transition that to your adult life. So I'm very appreciative of all those coaches that I've had over the years, the guys that gave me opportunities, and I like watching them play now. But I was very lucky and blessed to be able to have so many great coaches who are, top NFL coaches right now, just winning Super Bowls and stuff.
Just one more question. Can you take us down to the field right now? What's going on? What are the plays we're looking at here?
Sure. Right now, the younger guys are finishing up. They're getting ready. They're going through one-on-ones. They did individual offense, individual defense. Now one-on-ones to wrap up. Our older guys, our juniors and seniors, are inside wrapping up their shuttle, their L, broad, and vertical test. So they should be out here within the next 15 to 20 minutes as the younger guys are wrapping up. As soon as we conclude here, the younger guys will be released, and then the older guys are going to come out. But these kids are coming out here. Some of these kids are very big for just freshmen and sophomores. And then you look at the juniors and seniors. You look at kids like Tyler Merrill and some of those big kids that are up-and-coming juniors and seniors, and it's quite impressive to watch these guys also test and do one-on-ones and position work as well.
You know, take us a little bit through your future combines as well. Coming up on we'll have these coming up on your screen just momentarily here. Taking us up through some of these future combines to tell us more about them.
Sure. We have our combine in the East at Perkiomen Valley coming up on Saturday, May 13th. That should be a good combine there. Good participants signing up. And we're excited to be able to have that with Coach Heist and his staff. And then May 19th, we will be out at Bell Vernon. You know, that's quite a trip, but we're excited to be out there and to have an opportunity to work with some of the kids in the western part of PA. So after that, we have the Big 33 weekend, of course. We have the free youth clinic there. And then when we head to June 25th through the 29th, that's our week-long camp, Rising Stars Football Academy Foundation at Millersville. That's where we have 2 practices a day. The residents stay for student-athlete development in the evenings, where we're teaching the importance of education, scholarship opportunities, character, life skills, and getting up every day and just, you know, working hard at practice, 2 practices a day. So that's June 25th through the 29th. And for more information on that, you can go to risingstarsfootballacademy.com. Our phone number is 717-434-4558. This will be 15 years. We started our camps a long time ago. As soon as I was done playing, we had our camps up at Shippensburg previously. Now we have them at Millersville. Coach Morgan and his staff are awesome. They give us the opportunity to come there in Lancaster County every year and host our camp. Some of those coaches from Millersville are also part of our staff and coach with us throughout the week, and also some of the players. So it's exciting for these guys that come to camp to be able to watch some of the Millersville players that were just coaching them. But we also have guest players and guest speakers that come. Last year we had Bo and Cade Perbula be able to come out and be guest coaches and also speak to the kids, talk to the kids about the recruiting process and the things that they did. So we want local guys to be able to come out and share their message with kids to inspire them. But for more information about our camps, go to risingstarsfootballacademy.com and all of our combines that we have.
Anything else you want to say to the audience, whether it's upcoming new sponsors or more upcoming events before we cut you loose?
Yeah, I thank you guys for coming up here and being with us. I think this is 3 years that you guys have come out and done an awesome broadcast, very professional with how you guys work, how everything's arranged, creative with the questions, but we appreciate you guys coming all the way from Lehigh Valley area pretty much to wherever we're at.
Yep.
So I thank you guys as students, your entire staff that you guys have. It's important, and we appreciate you guys just giving these guys the opportunity to showcase their skills live stream. If we were talking 20 years ago, you couldn't do this. 15, 10 years ago, you couldn't do this. So I think it's great with the technology that you guys have, and you know, just good luck with you guys too, as well as you guys are finishing school here and go on with your professional careers.
Absolutely. Ron Johnson, everybody joining us from Rising Stars Football Academy. Ron, we appreciate you coming up here and speaking with us, and we look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thank you.
We're going to take a step away real quick. We're back here from Cumberland Valley High School. We want to thank all of our coaches and sponsors and people that run foundations come up to the booth. It was a very much pleasure talking to all of them, Santos.
Yes, it was.
We got some good, valuable information about players' backgrounds and Jordan McNair's foundation and the work they're doing, and then the man himself, Ron Johnson, how these combines continue to go. Santos, what stood out to you the most about what Ron just said to us as well?
I think what stood out to me the most is his ability to change people. I mean, we were just talking about the kid that came here, and he was so respectful, and that's what it's all about. Showing respect, I bet now he has all these D1 scholarships because of it. So I feel like his message was to really just aim for success. Aim for greatness. And that's what these kids are trying to do here today.
Absolutely. And the name quarterback Cole Sullivan, as Ron mentioned, that he was very impressed with as well. And obviously Ron always preaches about doing stuff the right way. He mentioned when Cole first came into the combine, he shook everybody's hand the first time, from Ron's hand to all the coaches' hands. Then after the combine, he went up, did it again. And then he followed up more and sending an email to all the coaches and Ron himself, thanking him for the opportunity. And he conducted himself the right way, as long with pushing himself on the field until the final drill was done as well. And I think that's what stood out to me the most, Santos, is that Ron obviously preaches about being a good person and being a good leader on and off the field. He said it, you run so fast, you jump so high, and if you don't conduct yourself in the classroom the right way and be a good person off the field, none of it could come. And seeing Ron's story also about starting at Division II at Shippensburg University and then going to the NFL, being an undrafted free agent, and then coming to the Eagles and making the 53-man roster at one point. And it's just really good to see it. And it proves that just talent comes from all over, from Division II to Division I. Talent comes from all over. Not many people think talent comes from their backyard. It does. Talent comes from across the country, from across the world. So I think that's a good message for our audience to receive as well.
Yeah, it's great to have someone like Sullivan do that. It takes a lot of character. It takes a lot of character for someone to send an email out to all the coaches and the coaching staff and to have that opportunity. So it's great to see that.
Yeah, it was very good to see Cole's journey and what stood out to Ron about these combines, continuing to grow year in and year out, and having more and more sponsors and more coaches and players come out. And it's very good to watch them, seeing these combines continue to grow, like I just mentioned, and seeing more and more players come through fruition, as we have now individual one-on-one drills taking place here, Santos. So we have some quarterback and receiver action, and then our kind of favorite, our drill, is defensive line action on the right side of your screen and quarterbacks on the left side. So how about you take us through one of maybe momentarily when we have a quarterback getting ready to hike it, snap the ball. Take us through a little bit of some stuff of what caught your eye so far today.
I used to be a defensive lineman when I was playing high school football. The position is very good, but it takes a lot of talent to be a defensive lineman, especially in a big pressure game like a rivalry game or a championship playoff game. But these defensive linemen they're big guys. They have what it takes to be a part of a high school team, especially with the QBs. Some of these players on the D line, I believe, maybe they could be offensive linemen too, and their job is also to protect the QB from getting sacked. So we're seeing a lot of defensive and offensive plays here on both sides of the screen, as you can see on YouTube and wherever you're streaming this at.
Absolutely, and I'm sure these quarterbacks and receivers were hoping for conditions that were a little bit better, a little bit warmer, and a little bit less wet. That's for sure. But they're making the most of it. They're making the most of it, putting their skills on display. That's for sure.
Yep, guys, we have a whole hour of action left for you guys. We're not going anywhere.
We have a good amount more. This is freshmen and sophomores currently, the younger of the two, and then juniors and seniors will come out. Like Ron said, about maybe 15 to 20 minutes. We possibly could have more interviews come your way. We might not. We could, but we'll keep you posted on that. But, some of these names that we're listening about, talking about defensive line and offensive lineman, Joshua Smith, class of 2027, offensive line and defensive line were in number 482. Colton Stanball, class of 2026, offensive line and defensive line. Doesn't have currently don't have a number listed for him as well, but Bryce starts. Excuse me. Then we're going to switch it over to the receiver side of things. We have Dominic Lethbridge, wide receiver, and cornerback, class of 2027. We're in number 45. So we'll take you to the bottom left of our screen. We'll focus in on that, and let's see what these quarterbacks and receivers have in store for us this upcoming play or rep.
Yeah, these kids are showing what they can do with their arms. Really strong arms we've been seeing, actually. They're throwing at about the 20-yard line. They're heaving these 30-yard balls, as we see right now. About a 35-yard ball that we just saw.
What an adjustment looking for the ball, and what a catch, just hauling that in and just making a two-handed catch, and good throw and good ball plays, a back shoulder throw.
Yeah, impressive show of strength by these guys. And, it's great to see these kids come out. This wouldn't be possible without Alder Carlo, our bosses, and Dave Micah, along with our producer, Sean Kelly here. Sean, thank you for doing this. Dave and Al here watching at home, thank you for bringing us out here and texting us about this event. It's great to be here.
You said the best, Santos. Great event to cover, doing these the past 3 years as a sideline and then play-by-play, and then you coming up here. I've been fortunate enough to meet Ron back in 2021 and learn his journey, and then just listening to his journey when he was addressing both the parents and the players at the end of the combine about the importance of just stuff on and off the field and being a good person and a good student, and then just putting in the work and necessary work to achieve what you want to achieve in both your academic journey and your athletic journey as well.
Yeah, you can't see it right now, ladies and gentlemen, but we're watching the upperclassmen come up here now on the bottom of the field. But as we stay focused on these drills, I mean these kids are freshmen. Some of them are in 8th grade. They're showing they can heave a ball far. As we see, this one heaved really far, actually, down to the 54, 45-yard line there. Impressive throw.
Down to about the 35-yard line. So from about where they're doing their dropbacks and their throws right now is about on your screen about the 24-yard line, 25-yard line, and that throw catch was made right around about on the other side of the field, about the 35. So just because the weather inclinations are not cooperating with us doesn't mean these quarterbacks and receivers don't want to show off the burners and the quarterbacks show off their arm strength. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is great to see these kids the way they're throwing it and these QBs at this point. It's raining, but it's not stopping these QBs from launching these balls. So there's some great defense too.
Passes broken up.
Yeah, naming back to these people, we have someone from
broken up by Tyler Reinhart. He's cornerback and receiver.
People from someone in kind of in our backyard, but it's the Colonial League in Schuylkill. We have Robert. Sorry, I read that wrong. That was Chase Gruz from Schuylkill, Blue Mountain, class of 2027. He's a wide receiver. It's great to see kids from kind of our backyard. We mentioned the executive player and now this one. It's great to see these people really show their strength and resilience coming into today's game.
And it's obviously Santos. We're in April right now, approaching May in a few days now. May 1st is on, I believe, Saturday, or about Monday. Excuse me, not Saturday. That's 29th, but yeah, May 1st is on a Monday. But seeing some of these drills, puts me in the football mood. It gets me a little bit eager, gets those football juices flowing. Season doesn't kick off for another about 3 or 4 months, depending on where high school about 3 months, college about 4 months, professional football at about 4 months. But seeing this and then combined with this the Rising Stars football combine this week, and the draft obviously just puts me a little bit more in a football mood. And we're gonna have more and more drills from the juniors and seniors, and that was an impressive adjustment to the ball there by, I'll get you a name and number real fast.
They're probably wrapping up now here for the drills. That was 133 from this wide receiver. Number 133 is a junior, I believe, from what I'm looking at here.
Try to get your names. Are some of the numbers may be off as well, but it looks like both these guys, both the juniors, or excuse me, the juniors and seniors are getting ready to take the field as the freshmen and sophomores are coming off the field as well.
Now, Derek, you've been asking me how I felt about today. What do you think this has been like so far, seeing the sophomores and freshmen and eighth graders?
I think right now, from seeing the freshmen and the seniors right now and focusing on that, it's just some of these guys just put in the necessary work and effort as well. And I see players not only talking to coaches but talking amongst themselves about improvements as well, and just seeing coaches from all over the area come in and bouncing knowledge off each other. Some of these coaches in a few months, Santos, are going to be coaching against each other on the football field, and coaching for playoff spots, coaching for much more stuff, championship, district championships, state championships, and stuff like that. I think that's what stands out to me, is that a lot of these coaches bouncing the necessary knowledge off each other as well, and continuing their journey, and not just getting different faces to coach. It's one thing to coach in your backyard and with your guys, but coaching schools that you might be a rival with or you're going to face during the regular season as well. That's what stood out to me. And then a lot of the guest speakers as well that we had the pleasure of talking to, learning more about the Jordan McNair Foundation from Marty McNair and the stuff he's now preaching, his son having multiple offers and then selling for the University of Maryland, learning his story and the unfortunate tragedy that took place, and now what his message is to not only coaches and players but parents as well, is that to be mindful of your body and be mindful of your son's or daughter's body as well.
People who don't realize what football and sports is all about, it's great, the athleticism, whatever, but it's about family as well. You have a family behind your back, no matter what time of day, what hour. This is your family. This is your family for the next 4 years, maybe in college, maybe the next 5 years. This family is going to be behind your back no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like that plays a role into everything, especially with the McNair family. They have a family behind their back. That football team, especially they talked about in Maryland. Maryland is a big supporter of that foundation, and it's good to see a family like that coming together and for a good cause in his name.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was a little bit familiar with the Jordan McNair Foundation, but hearing Marty speak about his son, the Jordan McNair Foundation, and Marty speak about him, was very fortunate. It gave me some more insight of what that foundation brings to not only, student athletes, but, coaches and parents as well. He said he was talking to parents inside as well about, the importance of player safety and all that. So it's going to be interesting. So right now, looks like the freshmen and sophomores just wrapped up. We'll have juniors and seniors coming your way just momentarily, and Ron might send somebody, more coaches up, depending on what positions are going up right now for us to interview. But we had some of the big name coaches come up here. Some of these coaches very fortunate enough, and Jordan Hill, defensive tackle that used to play for the Seahawks, winning a Super Bowl in his rookie year, going to 2 straight Super Bowls as a rookie, pretty impressive. Impressive, very fresh.
That is pretty impressive.
And reaching football's highest mountain and winning and hoisting that Lombardi trophy with the confetti falling, and just listen to his draft experience as well, being a day 2 pick, 87th overall in the 2012 NFL draft, I believe, or 2013 NFL draft it was. Just listening to him talk about that was just a little bit unreal. The wave of emotions that he felt when he just heard his name and he got the call to come to the Seahawks, and just going through the drafting interview process. So we're going to take just a short break, and then on the other side of things, we're going to have some juniors and seniors action coming your way, one-on-one drills. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Cumberland Valley, site of the first of the year Rising Stars Football Academy. Freshmen and sophomores just wrapped up, and they're probably inside warming up a little bit and getting dried off. And now, Santos, it's the juniors and seniors' turn.
Oh, it's the big guys now. You know, the quote unquote pros of high school level. These guys are going to show us what it's like to play on a high school team as a junior and senior. So hopefully we can see a lot of more drills like we saw before. I feel like it's going to be more than what we saw before, but we're ready to see what these kids can bring.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to a lot of the one-on-one drills as those take place, as right now they're getting a little bit warmed up, and this is the final group of the day. That's for sure. You know, obviously we've had a lot of fortunate guest speakers come up here and tell you a little bit about their foundations, a little bit more about their coaching and careers and their upcoming season, and so much more, as many of you have joined us right now. But honestly, like you said, Santos, you know, some of these guys, juniors and seniors, are now going to step into, you know, starting roles in the coming future. Probably in the coming future, you know, some of them may be a third or fourth year starter, depending on how they performed and what their team needed to do.
Yeah, you know, it's gonna. This year is the year that matters for some of these juniors and seniors. It also matters for sophomores and freshmen, but you know, I feel like the juniors and seniors are really going to be looked at more by college scouts. So that they have a chance to, especially now today, with the people that are here, they have a chance to show these college scouts what it's like, what they're about.
Absolutely, I'll take you some of the names through here right now from the juniors and senior class. You know, Eric Burchard, class of 2025, position running back and defensive position linebacker. You know, big guy, fast guy that can take it, and also some of these guys cross-training at multiple positions on the defensive side and the offensive side of things. And Ian Bates, running back, class of 2025, cornerback as well. Class of 2024, you know, you got Kevin Brady, fullback and linebacker. Quarterback, Ryan Bratton, class of 2025. Noah Brown, offense and defensive line, class of 2024. Eli Brown, that's class of 2026. Class of 2025, Justin Cordeau, running back. Dominic Curtis, offensive line and defensive line, class of 2025. Class of 2026, Kevin Davis, tight end and defensive line. Avery Engelhart, class of 2025, wide receiver, safety. Liam Fisher, class of 2024, quarterback and safety. So you have your a lot of these quarterbacks, you know, they're also signal callers for, you know, a lot of signal callers for the offensive side, but some of them are single callers also for their defensive side of things as well, if their coach trusts them enough on that side of the ball as well. So a lot of these guys cross-training in both positions, not only just defense, but also are not only just offense, but defense as well, and vice versa.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of these players on the seniors and juniors that are playing, you know, offensive positions, defensive positions, and special teams positions. You know, that's something that plays a role into a great athlete. You know, if they can manage to play more than one position in the game. So that's something that we're looking out about and watching these numbers perform today. As we look at the right side of your screen here, I believe it's the defensive drills. Left side of the screen, I believe it's back to the QBs maybe and the running backs and stuff. So this is going to be a great show to watch, ladies and gentlemen. So stay tuned.
Yeah, you know, quarterbacks and wide receivers getting warmed up right now, getting their stretches in as defensive linemen and offensive linemen, it looks like, are getting their jumps in and shuffles in down at the bottom of our view. And I'm not sure if we have the view down there as well as it is at the bottom of your screen. Some defensive linemen and offensive linemen doing some shuffles and doing some drills. So it's going to be interesting to see how these freshmen or uncommitted juniors and seniors perform today, and obviously hopefully get a chance to impress some college coaches, and not only college coaches and college scouts and other high school coaches as well.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting to see, like I've been saying the whole time, to see these kids play. You know, these college coaches are really looking at strength, weaknesses, you know, how good they play. And like Coach Ron Johnson said, you know, they also look at their manners and their positive outlooks on things. So that's something we're also looking at here for the classes of 2024 and 2025.
You know, obviously you talked about like mannerism, how they conduct. I think the piggyback on what you said, how they're conducting themselves, how they're interacting with the coaches, how they're interacting with their peers here, their fellow players, maybe possibly even fellow teammates as well. That's what these coaches and scouts are looking at as well, how they're interacting with one another, Like we mentioned earlier with, Jordan Hill and other interactions with the NFL draft that is taking place currently in the second day 2, rounds 2 through 4 tonight, obviously, but just how they're conducting themselves. And, not only professional teams look at how you are as a teammate and how you are as a person and how you treat others and how you treat your teammates, how you treat your coaches, how you treat your parents and friends, but they're also coaches from all levels look at that as well.
Yeah, they do. They look at a lot of things, like piggyback to what you said. They look at that, but they also look at the GPAs and the grades and how they act outside of school or with inside of school. And back to Coach Johnson. Coach Ron Johnson. He mentioned that every scout can look at anything. They can call anyone. They could call your bus driver. They can call your teacher. They can call your grandparents. It's off limits. Nothing's off limits for them. It's either you got it, you have the respect, or you don't. Simple.
Not even. He didn't really mention how you mention your family, but he often how you treat the janitors, the cafeteria workers, people like that. So this is what everybody is. So also just how you just treat everybody in everyday life, not just all your friends, your teammates, and family as well, but. We see more and more drills taking place at the bottom of your screen. Looks like running backs. It looks like quarterbacks, receivers, QBs doing some drills at the bottom of your screen as more and more warm-ups and one-on-ones and individual drills being shown off here. As we take a look here at the bottom of at your screen, looks like the defensive lineman getting warmed up and getting some loose, working on gaining off some blocks. It's all about that quickness when you're a defensive lineman and edge rusher as well. Coach Jordan Hill was talking about the difference in the transition he had to take into the NFL. You might be a half a step late in college. You're still in high school. You're not really too far from the play, but you might be able to recover from a play in the NFL. But the running back, I hate to break it to you, is already 5 yards down the field and possibly going for much more.
Yeah, he is. As a defensive lineman, you really have to focus on not only, your main goal isn't just gonna sack the QB. Your main goal is focusing on where that ball is going. Maybe you can make a sack. Yeah, you could also make a great tackle. It could be a game-defining tackle. If it's in the backfield, if it's past you, don't even worry about that. Stay where you're at. But if you have a chance to make that sack, to make that game-winning tackle or game-changing tackle, whatever it may be, that is what you should take. It takes a lot to be in that position.
Bottom of your screen here looks like the quarterbacks are getting loosened up, getting ready to show off on us. We'll have more wide receivers, one-on-ones, and quarterbacks showing off their canyons. We saw throws go from maybe about the 25 on the others and the 25-yard line, 24-yard line, going all the way about on the other side of the 50 to about the 35, 34-yard line. So some of these freshmen and sophomores were slaying it. These juniors and seniors are going to have to bring their A game, that's for sure.
Yeah, they have to.
They're still uncommitted. They're still uncommitted as well. They're still looking to get that offer, looking to hopefully expand their football playing career throughout their lives, expand it a little bit more as, the defensive linemen, it looks like, are getting instructed and getting coached up. Don't have the name of the coach that is coaching them up, but it looks like he's very hands-on with a lot of guys, so they're paying close attention to what he's telling them and coaching them up.
I don't know if I'm probably the only one watching this, but a lot of people dropping the balls, but that's only because it's raining right now. It is pouring over here, but they're making the most of it. We've seen a couple good catches actually today. I hope we can see more today coming from the seniors and juniors. This coach is very hands-on. We've been watching him the whole time. He seems like a defensive coach from the looks of it. We don't know his name, but he seems like he knows what he's doing. Especially with we see the Cumberland coach as well.
See Coach Oswald at on the left side of your screen, getting after it with some of his guys. Looks like his receivers
throwing some dimes,
beating them. Some receivers beating their man and getting that one step off the ball, and looking for the ball right away as soon as they get off the line of scrimmage. It's always very good to see some of these throughout the years, Santos. Throughout the years, some of these drills obviously change, and Ron and many of these coaches implement more drills, more things for these combines. And it's very good to see.
No, it is. It's good. It's good to see these kids practice these drills too, because sometimes in their own schools they probably aren't learning these drills, so these coaches know what they're doing, especially with Coach Josh Oswald here at Cumberland Valley. Great team, great coach. So he knows how to coach these guys, and especially Coach Ron Johnson. I don't see him out here, but I saw him earlier getting some drills in with some of these players. So it's good to have people who know what they're doing coach these people.
Yeah, a lot of the coaches from the surrounding areas, and like we've been mentioning, some of these coaches this upcoming season are going to be coaching against each other. That's for sure in the upcoming season. That's for sure. And on the right side of your screen, you see some linebacker. It looks like running backs get into the gap and filling gaps, and linebackers looking to stay disciplined and look where the ball is going as well. So this is one of those new drills. Two of these drills weren't here last year when I was up here with Dave Micah last year up in Cumberland Valley. So looks like Coach Oswald and some of these staffs are implementing some new stuff this year in the first year of the first combine of the season for Rising Stars Football Academy.
Yeah, they want to. I can only imagine what it's like. This is their this is their year. This year, with a lot of new players, so they want to implement new games, new ways to get their how do I say this? Get their spiff out there, along with these new seniors and juniors coming up.
Yeah, that's for sure, Santos. And obviously, you mentioned that with some new seniors. I don't know if the exact amount. Maybe some of these coaches, not only coaches were here last year, but some of these players possibly might have been here last year as well. So it's going to be as freshmen and sophomores. So you're getting, not only are we getting broadcasting experience for D11, but these players that are uncommitted right now are getting this how these combines and pro style combines are run. So how do you think that is beneficial for these athletes, student athletes, to get hands-on experience at a pro-style type of combine?
I think it could pay off big time. When they have a chance to do it again. Some of these freshmen and sophomores and juniors have a chance to do next year too, because it's great to get their names out there, especially to these college coaches that are here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll have upcoming combines and pop up on your screen that will tell you a little bit more about. But Lorraine is still continuing the fall here from Cumberland Valley High School, that's for sure. But, we'll have the 5-star regional combine Friday, May 19th at Bell Vernon High School at James Weir Stadium, 5 to 9, open to all classes. And then Saturday, May 13th, there's Pokemon Valley High School, 12 to 4, open to all schools and all classes. Then the York County Youth Football League Minicamp, June 30th through July 1st, 9 a.m. through 3 p.m., ages 10 through 13. And obviously, you can register today going to risingstarsfootballacademy.com or call 717-434-4558. Then the 15th annual Rising Stars Football Academy runs at Millersville University, and I had the pleasure of touring that campus back in March, that's for sure, and it's a very beautiful campus with a lot of good athletic facilities through June 25th to June 29th. And obviously, it does not only focus on the football aspect with individual periods, group periods, inside run, passing offense, passing defense, 7-on-7s and 1-on-1s. The shell period, gap responsibilities, run fits, coverages, so basic football fundamentals and 1-on-1s and team periods and conditioning. But also it teaches just much more than football. The student development process as well. Participants engage in workshops focusing on academic excellence, NCAA scholarship eligibility, requirements, leadership, life skills, character resiliency, and other topics in the evening at the camp. Rising Stars Football Academy is the only camp that includes student athlete development workshops. So I think that is one of the things that sticks out about Ron Johnson and the Rising Stars Football Academy is not only do they put emphasis on the thing, but they also have individual clinics and combines that teach you how to be a person and work on your study skills and how to be a better academic scholar.
Exactly. It's like we talked about the whole broadcast. Ron Johnson's goal is to have these kids know what it's like for school. They want these kids to do better in school, no matter if they're an athlete or not. They feel like this is their opportunity to show these kids how educational you have to be.
And then the youth cheer clinic, and this is the big one at the big annual Big 33 football game. You know, they have the youth cheer clinic, 7 to 8 p.m., ages 5 to 13, up in Bishop McDevitt High School. And then Saturday, May 20th, that will be up there too as the youth cheer clinic. And Big 33, obviously, as you see on your screen, is more than just a weekend. Obviously, you know, the football game is not on Memorial Day, but on May 28th is the kickoff at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. and they have a big school game and a little school game, and last year's game was a lot of fun, a lot of back and forth, that's for sure.
Yes, it was. Like I said before, I got to watch some of it. It was great. A back and forth match between those two teams. And it's also great to see these people come down from Maryland to play Pennsylvania. It's kind of crazy, the drive, but it's all, at the end of the day, it's all for a great cause. I think my favorite part of that weekend, or week I should say, is the Buddies program. Love that program. It's a great program for these kids to really experience what it's like to be in a position like that, and it's great for these kids.
Yeah, obviously, you know, Big 33 weekend, or Big 33, now we said it's more than just a weekend. Now Gary Cathell, who is up here with us, now it's going to run through a whole week with an action-packed week, you know, an action-packed week filled with a lot of festivities and so much more, that's for sure. But it's very good to see, you know, Big 33 and now Ron involved with Gary and has a role with Big 33 continue to grow, and it's just very good to see that whole weekend and continue to grow.
It is. It's great to see the program grow. What it has. It started. Remember, there's been more Big 33 games than Super Bowls. That's how old this program is, and Ron has done his best, his absolute best to really showcase these kids what they practice for throughout the whole year.
Yeah, obviously, 57 Super Bowls, 57 times the Big 33 has been represented in that game, and the streak lives on. You know, I wasn't really sure this past Super Bowl if that streak continued, but I asked Gary right off the rip if that streak continued, because I wanted to know. As soon as I knew Gary was here, I wanted to know if that streak continued for him in that whole program, because they put on such a good show, and it's a very stressful week for him, but it's a very stressful week for him and others. But, you know, he mentioned on Sunday, as Jordan Hill, looks like Jordan Hill is continuing to work down low. So we're going to work with the athletes, but when we come back, we're going to take a short little break, and when we come back on the other side, we'll have a lot more action for you. Welcome back to Cumberland Valley High School. Joining us now is offensive line coach Jamie Thomas. Jamie, thank you for joining us. Overall thoughts so far today. We saw you working with some offensive linemen down there and defensive linemen.
We have some talented guys out here. I know, Tyler Merrill, one of the big names here from Cumberland Valley, freshman offensive tackle, making some noise. Looking forward to seeing these guys in the one-on-ones.
Yeah, obviously, So take me through a little bit what it is like working with Ron Johnson, being here with Rising Stars Football Academy, just stuff like that.
This has been it's the first time experience for me here. I know I was a former player in the Big 33, but this being actually able to get out on the field and work with these guys, it's a really nice experience. So, getting some competition. I know it's wet and rainy out here, but the guys are working through it, and we'll have some good one-on-ones to finish up here.
You mentioned you played in the NFL for 3 years?
Yes,
2
sir.
years. How was it like playing with that Indianapolis Colts team?
So I was fortunate to go to a really good organization, had a lot of veteran players, Peyton Manning, Jeff Saturday, Freeney, Bethea, all of those guys. It was a learning experience for me, a big learning curve. The biggest thing for me was learning how to be a professional, obviously, and working with those guys. And I was able to get into the mix and got some really good experience.
And remind us a little bit more, you played in the Big 33, so how did it feel to play in the Big 33 and now helping out with the Big 33? How does that feel?
It's an honor, man. The Big 33 is a privilege. It's still, in my mind, one of the best all-star games that ever happened in this country. Pennsylvania's offered really good football. Even with the switch over to Maryland, it's still been a competition and a rivalry. So, I enjoyed it, and being able to work with these guys and share my experiences with them it's what we're here for.
You mentioned a lot of Hall of Famers just in that first sentence. Jeff Saturday, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Peyton Manning now in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Reggie Wayne, Dwight Freeney. So you went to, obviously, in the NFL. Take me, the NFL draft's now going on day 2, rounds 2 through 4. Take me through a little bit of, your draft experience so far.
So I'm an Eagles fan. So, number one, I thought we won the first round of the draft.
Oh, yeah, we absolutely did. But that's besides the point. Continue.
Picked up Jalen and Nolan Smith. We're continuing the culture in Philly the way that we should. We got a lot of those Georgia guys.
I meant a lot of your draft experience.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we'll talk about the draft.
I was drafted 7th round to Indianapolis out of the University of Maryland. It was a good experience for me. Obviously, really exciting time for these guys. I know it's also traveling. Tough time for some guys. Let's say, Will Levis. I know he was sitting there watching the TV all night. And tough experience, but
selected 33rd overall.
They can forecast, but no one knows. No one knows what happens in the draft. So, really good experience, but I also know it can be a tough time for some guys.
Obviously, what was that like for you now to walk into Indianapolis and a guy like Peyton Manning that had a Super Bowl already, Jeff Saturday, already a guy who already had a Super Bowl, and then Dwight Freeney, I believe, was a part of that 06 Colts team as well, and then Reggie Wayne, one of the best premier receivers in that era as well. So what was it like stepping into Indianapolis for you?
Like I said, big learning experience. I watched those guys and how they operated on a daily basis. How they showed up to work, how they stayed after to watch film, put in extra time in the weight room, really fought to take care of their bodies, all of those good things. It taught me how to be a pro. That was one of the big things from that organization, and we worked hard and we had some success.
Obviously, what was that like? Obviously, you were unfortunate in that Super Bowl, but what was that Super Bowl experience like for you as well? Super Bowl has grown as a game, but it's more so like almost an event, as a just a whole type of media event. That whole entire week you're doing unusually long media percentage. So what was that like in that journey for you, making to the football's mountaintop, not coming away with that Super Bowl ring or that Lombardi Trophy, but what was that like for you as a player to be in that Super Bowl? Don't know if you really exactly played, I don't know, but take me through that journey of finally getting to football's highest mountaintop and reaching the Super Bowl.
That first year for me, I was on practice squad. So down there, no, I didn't play. Did go through media day with all the guys. They actually, one of the things that follows me from that game is they had what was called Super Bowl Idol, which was their version of American Idol. I ended up winning that, so I have a little trophy at home from it. Had to sing Beyonce Single Ladies. Not necessarily proudest moment, but it was fun. We enjoyed it. But, really good experience. And for me, it was all learning. How did we practice when we showed up? Guys kind of went out a little bit earlier in the week, but obviously, from Wednesday on, everything was locked in and we were focused. Obviously didn't come out on top. Those guys played a heck of a game. That onside kick at halftime really, set us off. But from there, it was just great learning experience, great to be a part of.
Obviously you mentioned that onside kick, and I remember watching it, and Sean Payne had watching that, that whole documentary about that Saints team and that ambush play. What was that like playing against that Saints defense and, going up and seeing 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks battle it out in Drew Brees and Peyton Manning? Brees has that one and only Super Bowl. Payne went on to win with another one with the Broncos. But what was it like for you to watch two Hall of Famers, battle it out? And Sean feared Peyton Manning so much that he felt like he had to steal an extra possession from him. Absolutely. So what was that like what do you think that was like to just watch as do you ever look back and be like, wow, I was on the field watching two guys duke it out, two legendary Hall of Famers duke it out on the field?
Man, honestly, I was in awe. The amount of talent that was on that field on both sides of the ball, the coaching that was done, it was amazing to watch. That last drive before he threw the pick six to, I think, Porter, DB.
It was Porter.
It locks in your mind, believe me. But, I saw us driving to win the game. We had done that many times that year. We were behind with the Patriots that year by like 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. We came back to win that game. So there were some things, we were gearing up, going down the field. I'm like, okay, we're marching to win it. And, it just didn't come out on top. But it happens.
Now switching to your background right now, not just player background, but, coaching background. So when did you start your coaching career, and what made you get into coaching and being hands-on back in Pennsylvania with some of these athletes?
So for me, it was 2011. I had a bruise to my spinal cord that kind of ended playing for me. It was unfortunate, but, for me, I went back home and I instantly, I was a Bishop McDevitt grad, so I started volunteering at McDevitt. Volunteered there for 3 years, took the O-line coaching job at Harrisburg High School, went to Clarion University as a GA, came back to McDevitt for 2, went to Dickinson College for 3, and most recently here was 2 years at CD East. Last year as the offensive coordinator. And for me, it's about sharing our experience with these guys so they can get to that next level. Our playing days are over, but for them, the knowledge that we can share with them is everything to help them get to that next level.
What's it like being here with Ron Johnson and all these great coaching staff, especially you being one of them? What's it like being involved with the whole thing?
I love it, man. There's a ton of experience between all the guys that are here, and like I said, it's our job to share it with them and help these guys, point out the little things, the technique things, and help them get to the next level and maximize their potential.
What's your message to these kids, going forward in their high school career and hopefully collegiate career? Hopefully they can play at University of Maryland or wherever. What's your message to them going forward?
For me, it's trust the process. There's no easy way of getting to where you want to go. You got to put in the time in the weight room, but you also have to do what you need to do academically. I've seen too many guys miss opportunities because they didn't handle what they needed to do freshman and sophomore year. By the time coaches come in junior year, if your academics aren't there, they almost write you off and go to the next kid. There's so many guys in the country that want these scholarships. You have to trust the process and stay on the little things so you can get to where you want to be.
Absolutely. Obviously, a lot of guys have mentors. Some coaches are mentoring right now, but do you have any mentors that that have really stuck out on your journey to where you are now, not only your playing days but career-wise now as an offensive line coach?
1,000%. My O-line coach Tom Bratton was a big one. Ralph Friesen, who was my head coach at Maryland, he's been my main coaching mentor the last several years, learning the offensive game, learning how teams are trying to attack you defensively and putting schemes together and breaking things down. He's been huge for my development as a coach.
Obviously, right now, when you said it to us off air, you're kind of a coaching free agent right now. So, right now, if you have any other guys that are looking to add to the staff, what do you think you can bring to a staff and bring to other people and other kids on the coaching staff?
So, obviously, my background was offensive line, so I have a ton of knowledge and experience there working with guys. I train guys as well, offensive and defensive linemen in the area. I actually having a big man classic next week. I have about 45 guys from Pennsylvania, Maryland, New Jersey, New York coming up, the competition. So, but O-line has obviously been my background, but obviously I've been growing in my career and my knowledge. So, obviously, offensive coordinator last year, interviewed for the head coach job at Carlisle this past off season. Obviously didn't come out with that, but for me it's continuing to progress forward, and I know that wherever I end up landing, it may be this year, may not be until next year, whatever the case may be, I'm going to bring a wealth of experience, passion, and knowledge.
That's for sure. Obviously, is there anybody, last question for me, obviously, has there been any offense or defensive lineman that really caught your eye, either from freshman to senior right now? Anything catch your eye down on the field? Because it's a little bit different vantage point when you're down on the field from where we're up in here. We have a few guys that I think caught my mind, but who caught yours?
Yeah, so we're getting ready to start some of the one-on-ones here. Like I said, Tyler Merrill, I know, is a guy that I've actually trained since he was about 12 years old. He's a freshman here at Cumberland Valley, and I know after his first season, started the majority of the year, has 4 or 5 offers, I believe, already Division I schools. And I know there's some other guys, guys names that I maybe haven't heard of yet, but I'm looking forward to watching here in the one-on-ones.
Here, Coach. Thanks for
Coach Thomas. We appreciate your time and good luck on your coaching journey. It was good to hear your background, and thank you.
My pleasure.
We'll step away for a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have more action on the other side. We're back here live from Cumberland Valley High School. Derek Moore alongside Santos Martinez, and we just wrapped up an interview with offensive line coach Jamie Thomas. He gave us some excellent feedback from what's going down on the field right now, a little bit about his former playing days, played from 2009 to 2011, was a member of the Indianapolis Colts. Had a very fortunate opportunity to play with a lot of Hall of Fame players, that's for sure. And Dwight Freeney, one of the best pass rushers in our game, in the history of our game, and Reggie Wayne, one of the best receivers in our era, and Peyton Manning, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So 3 Hall of Famers right there, and Jess Saturday, an offensive lineman, his fellow teammate and fellow offensive lineman, that's for sure. And another guy that's going to wear a gold jacket most likely.
Yes, without a doubt. It's exciting to be in a room with, we were in a room with a lot of football players, former football players, and with Mr. Johnson, Coach Johnson, and Jason Hill. Sorry, I apologize for that. That's not Jason Hill.
Jordan Hill
Jordan
from the
Hill.
Trinity High
Trinity
High School.
Yes, Jordan Hill, a great guy, but all of them are. It's impressive to see where they started, actually. They started, they played football, and now they're retired, but now they're doing bigger and better things here, helping the community out with these kids and getting these kids' names out there.
Yeah, obviously this combine's for undecided and uncommits for the uncommit classes, but, speaking with a lot of these coaches from today, and there's getting their feedback of what stands out to them with a lot of these guys as well, it's very good to see, coaches' feedback. That's why we have these interviews to come up here and give this right there. So.
Yes, these guys are, whether or not, bad weather or not, these guys are really putting on a show for us today. We're seeing a lot of good catches. We're seeing a lot of good defensive plays. We're seeing a lot of good offensive as well. So we're really looking forward to seeing what these guys, with the next, couple minutes or 30 minutes or whatever can bring to our table. But as far as we're seeing, these kids are resilient no matter the weather.
talking with Coach offensive line coach Jamie Thomas, mentioning that he had an opportunity to play in the Big 33 game, and he was I believe a 2000, if I have that Super Bowl right, 2009, 2010 season Super Bowl member of the Indianapolis Colts, and he played in the Big 33, so there was your Big 33 representative in that year's Super Bowl as well. But
yes,
it's pretty remarkable what the Big 33 does, keeping that streak alive, and just having it all coming to fruition. And it just proves that talent comes from all over the world, all over the country.
Mm-hmm. It shows the resilience of this program, the Big 33. Having all these people represent them in Super Bowls and everything, NFL related. It's great to see that. It's also great to see them come back here and teach these kids what they know about the program and everything that they've seen from all around the NFL and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Ron does such a great job of bringing a lot of these coaches in and bringing a lot of these former NFL players back. And football. These coaches obviously and players have bounced knowledge off each other, but it also brings that experience for these kids, an NFL experience and collegiate level, high collegiate level, to these kids in that experience. Guys looking up, asking questions, and players looking for much as info and to improve their game as much as they can. So the ball just sailed a little bit too high on the bottom of your screen.
We're looking at that on the left side of your screen. On the right side of your screen, we're looking at some defensive drills going on here.
Defensive lineman and offensive lineman battling out at the bottom of right, or on the right, not the bottom right, but the right of your screen. Going for it, going back and forth.
Yeah.
And the quarterbacks looks like they're continuing to get loose. They're doing some short little slant routes, corner routes, comeback routes.
The rain's not going to stop anytime soon, but it's not going to stop these players from showing what they got.
See a lot of the coaches over on the tent earlier wiping down some balls, that's for sure. Trying to keep guys an opportunity to showcase their arm strength and continue with that.
Yes, it's making use of those ball dryers here, the towels and everything. We're seeing them launch a little more better now here. The QBs on the left side of your screen, they're launching these balls like about 30 yards. Impressive, considering it's cold and windy outside and it's rainy. So we're only looking forward to see a really good catch. This might be one of them. Impressive catch. Great. They're going to get to another. Oh, dropped that one, but it was close. He closely got that one.
We'll bring some quarterbacks right here for you. Ryan Bratton, quarterback. Noah Brown, that's an offensive lineman. Quarterback Christopher Castillo, class of 2027. Quarterback Liam Fisher, Hayden Flischner, class of 2027. So you got some quarterbacks here laying their arm strength show. Braden Huber. Kevin Moyer, class of 2026. Dean Radin, class of 2024. Brady Reck, class of 2027. So, and Layden Yale, and then Cameron Wolf. And he also is crossed on the defense side, cornerback. And then Stam Sweepinhens.
We are seeing a huddle of both the offensive linemen and QBs, so this might be the sign of the end of this camp today, as we can mostly guess what Ron Johnson's going to say in his post-camp huddle here today.
Yeah, obviously today we have had a lot of things stand out, that's for sure.
Yes, we have a lot of people stand out today, especially the sophomores and freshmen. They're really impressive this year, and this camp. As you see Ron Johnson there in all the black in your screen here, talking to the players. You see the players are hyped up, laughing. Must have been fun for them today, play in this rain and then to play under this good and great program that they built today.
A lot of the coaches obviously have done a tremendous job coaching these players, giving these players the opportunity to come out and showcase to not only other schools' coaches, but college scouts, college coaches that are looking to add talent to their upcoming program, no matter what the year that is. We're technically in not the off season, but I would say the off season, but football and sports have no off season, that's for sure, as these players put in a lot of work today.
Pre-off season, I think it's great to really get these kids out there and show these college recruiters what these kids can do for their programs.
And Ron breaking it down right now, addressing some of these guys and some coaches, giving them some final thoughts as well, probably wrapping things up for the first of the year Rising Stars Football Combine, and we'll have more combines coming, more combine action coming your way in the coming weeks and the coming months, as we'll have graphics pop up on your screen one last time when you sign up for some of these future combines. Big 33 weekend, and obviously the Big 33 game, Rising Stars Football Academy will be there May 28th at Bishop McDevitt High School up in Harrisburg, PA. Then we often mention Big 33 is more than just a weekend. There's also a youth cheer clinic from 6 to 8 p.m. ages 5 to 13. Registration is $25, and that is Saturday, May 20th. And then the 15th Anfield Rising Stars Football Academy runs from June 25th to June 29th at 2020 up at Millersville University, and also focuses on student athlete development as well as many other individual drills off the field. And our Rising Stars Football Academy is the only camp that includes student athlete development workshops, and you can go register today at risingstarsfootballacademy.com. And the York County Youth Football League Clinic, June 30th through July 1st, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., ages 10 through 13 at Red Lion High School at Hornfield. Register today at risingstarsfootballacademy.com or at 717-434-4558. And then on Saturday, May 13th at Perkins Marion Valley High School at Thomas Keenan Stadium, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., all classes are welcome, open to all players from all schools. On Friday, May 19th as well, from Bell Vernon High School at James Weir Stadium from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Open to all players from all schools, classes 2023s, 2024s, 2025s, 2026, and 2027s, all undecided in a pro-style combine. And those are the upcoming things as we're getting ready to wrap up here. Santos, some final thoughts from today. What has stood out to you from our guest speakers, what you saw on the field today?
I mean, they basically also the same thing. This is more than just a program. It's a opportunity for these kids to get their names out there. For these college recruiters, and in their high schools. It's also great to see these kids really play in this weather. It's people that showed out, and if you didn't show out, then you have another opportunity to show out. But the kids that showed out were great, and they showed us what they can bring to the season next season.
Absolutely. A lot of offense and defensive linemen stood out to me today, and a lot of guys working on one-on-one stood out today. And all the guest speakers all the coaches that came up here gave us some feedback, and the importance of being a good person, being a good student athlete, being a good teammate, all these other things as we're wrapping up here from you. But, Ron Johnson, as the man on your screen, walking off the field right now, does such a good job of improving these combines year in and year out, and from combine to combine as well. From Derek Moore, Santos Martinez as well. Santos Martinez, we thank you for listening to our broadcast, and we'll see you later next time.
Good night, my friend Ron Johnson. Thank you to Al DiCarlo as well for bringing us here today.